Old Trafford, Manchester United 3, Fulham 2.
Thank you, Bill. Goals are plenty on BBC Radio Manchester this afternoon as City look to make two changes here. Mary Fowler is making her return from injury now, and she's going to come on to replace Bunny Shaw. And the other change is going to see Vivian Miedemar, who just scored the fifth goal for Manchester City. She's going to be replaced by Grace Clinton, formerly of Manchester United. And the reception for these players, Kirsty, if you can make it out in the background, it tells a story.
It does. There's obviously a lot of applause there from Miedemar and Bunny Shaw, who've both been phenomenal on the pitch today. But the biggest part of that applause, and I got goosebumps from head to toe, is Mary Fowler. She has been such an influential player, and the City fans absolutely love her. And when she got that injury, I think it was against United that she did her ACL, and it was such a big loss for them to have a player of that calibre not able to play, going through recovery, and to see her back on the pitch. That's what that feeling of the ground was then, is people feeling for her and giving her that applause she needs to return after such a long period out.
5 goals then at Old Trafford, 6 goals here at the Etihad, and we've still got more action yet to come. At 4:30 when Manchester City take on Spurs in the Premier League. Full match commentary to come on that one when we're finished here. Chelsea now looking to get on the scoring act themselves. Decent looking ball into the box is gathered in by Yamashita, and with a look at the clock, we've got just less than 14 minutes to go. City 5, Chelsea 1.
Yeah, some good ball actually from Nuskin. She looked to play that ball, floated to the back post, and Sam Kerr, who's usually a figure that would be in there and in the mix to attack the ball, just wasn't quick enough to react to the ball coming in, and Yamashita able to gather it up. But yeah, good to see Mary Fowler back, and obviously Grace Clinton, who seems to have been building herself quite nicely into the team when she's been able to get minutes.
Sam Coffey playing a 1-2 with Kasparai, and then they work it in towards Fagino, just inside the Chelsea half. Mary Fowler's first touch sends the ball out towards the left-hand side, and Lauren Hemp, the England winger, in a bit of space here. Lauren Hemp, she's got Greenwood with her. Hemp ignores her. There's the cross, there's the header. It was Kasparai all the way forward there. No, it's not, it's Grace Clinton, my apologies. But instead, it doesn't matter because the header came to nothing. It's still City 5, Chelsea 1.
Says it all, though, about the mentality from Chelsea. At 5-1 down, you wonder, and on that occasion, Millie Bright, who's usually so formidable in that centre-half position, she got outbeat and outjumped by Grace Clinton. Clearly come to nothing in the end. There weren't enough power on it. But again, it just shows that determination that players like Clinton, who's a very, very good player, able to out-battle Millie Bright there to get on the end of that ball.
Nuskin in possession for Chelsea, 10-15 yards inside the City half. Look at the determination from Greenwood to win that ball back, and then she's dragged over by Carpenter to win the free kick. But the determination there from the skipper to win the ball back at 5-1, still looking for more. Yeah,
you just don't want to concede any more goals, do you? You want to at least try and score but not concede. Keep Chelsea at bay. Come away from this game and think, do you know what, we deserve that today. We've put that performance in. And to be fair, I wouldn't say that it's not a 5-1 game. I think City have absolutely dominated it.
Yeah, they have been exceptional this afternoon, Manchester City. What a job Andrei Jegelec has done to galvanise this side after the disappointment of last season and not qualifying for European football. Of course, they did have their injury problems last season, Manchester City, but they fell well short in the end last season. Andrei Jegelec has done a wonderful job.
He has, and actually, if anything, I think not getting European football's helped City because they have been able to build that fitness level up of players that have been out injured. Awabi, one of which is warming up on the sideline, She got a bad injury. She's ended up being dropped from the squad, and having Kanat back from injury and bringing in Jade Rose has meant that you can utilise Alex Greenwood in that position of left back. We know she can do it. We know she's influential. But then when you've got Awabi back, you've got a decision to make, and it can be very difficult.
Ball goes forward again, this time from Mary Fowler, trying to release Lauren Hemp. I'm just looking at Ayoba Fagina. That right knee's heavily strapped. Not sure if she's running at 100% either. I'm sure that's going to be a concern for her.
Yeah, well, obviously she's been out injured, and I'm wondering whether that's just precaution that she's had to put that strapping on her knee. Might not be as quick and as influential as usual, but maybe with the scoreline being what it is, being able to bring Firmino on to at least give us some minutes to get her back into the game, to obviously be able to try and utilise her in matches in the future.
Chelsea going forward. Might be an opportunity here to get another one back for the visitors. Kinnaird with the effort, brilliantly defended again by Rebecca Kanak. Ball comes off Kinnaird and behind for the goal kick. City 5, Chelsea 1.
I think the back line's been solid today from City, especially Kanak. She's got Anne Greenwood on that left-hand side of the defensive lines. They've had that tenacity, haven't they? They've had that bit between the teeth to be able to get on the end of every ball coming in, put in them blocks, put in them headers, and that's been a massive difference for City today, being able to have players in there that can do that.
Millie Bright goes into a challenge on Mary Fowler and comes out with the ball as well. And Captain sends it forward. Might be a chance here for Kinnaird again. Across comes the defender. It might be put in this. City some last-ditch defending. Eventually they get it half clear. And it's Hasegawa back there also trying to affect some defending. And now Kasparai. In fact, it's Clinton with a bit of an odd touch in midfield, but it comes off for her. And it's Lauren Hemp to release Clinton down the left-hand side. Carpenter comes across. Clinton can't keep it in play. Throw into Chelsea. You can just see the confidence oozing through this City team.
You can. That touch was funny. It sort of bounced. She looked like she was trying to do a back heel, and it hit the back of her other foot, back to her foot again, and she plays it to Hemp and tries to give her the return ball down the line, and it just bounces off Clinton in the end. But again, with City being able to bring players off the bench like Clinton, like Mary Fowler, Sam Coffey, players that any team in the WSL would want starting for you, to have that ability to bring players like that into a game has made the difference again for City today. Caroline being able to rest her so early on in the game after scoring a hat-trick because they can, and that's not something they've had the luxury of in the past. People have said Chelsea have always been dominant because of their...
And here they go again, Manchester City, and a chance to get Firmino in on the scoring act here, possibly by Clinton. The ball came across, and so did a Chelsea defender to knock it out of play. Will be a throw into City. They've got about maybe 8 and a bit minutes if they want to score 6 this afternoon.
Yeah, a bit of a poor one from Clinton there. Firmino and Hemp both running up to support, and neither of them being able to retrieve the ball back from Clinton in the end. But no, I was saying in the past Chelsea have had that dominance because they've spent money. They've been able to bring in some big name players. They've had that investment that if you're going to pay for players, expect rewards, and City are being able to do that now.
Here goes Mary Fowler once more, left-hand side of the penalty area for City, fed by Greenwood. Ball comes back to Greenwood through Hasegawa. City now not able to get the ball in the box. Greenwood into a challenge again though, but it's Chelsea who come out with it. There's 2 Chelsea players sat down right now, and City want to keep going. Here's Clinton, edge of the penalty area. Can Grace Clinton get a shot away? She's trying to get it onto a stronger right foot, which in the end she did, and the ball goes behind. Now, I'm pretty sure that will be a corner, but the referee's not pointed for it yet. The Chelsea player instead is going to receive some treatment. Yeah,
Beaver Jones, I think it looks as though it's her ankle. Now, I didn't see what happened, whether she's gone over on it herself or whether it was a challenge and the ball won back, but she looks in a bit of discomfort. She's actually taken a boot off, so she's sat to ground. City have carried on because it's not a head injury. You're able to do that, and I think it should be given as a corner. Whether she will or not, I'm not too sure, but yeah, Beaver Jones just come on the pitch, so it's a little bit worrying that she's having to take a boot off so soon, and potentially could be a problem for Chelsea.
Stoppage in play here. Aggie Beaver Jones just on, in fact, so a big worry this might be for Chelsea as she's down receiving treatment. Let me just bring you up to date here then. We're at the Etihad in the WSL. City leading Chelsea by 5-1. Carolyn with a hat-trick, Bunny Shaw and Vivian Miedemar with the goals. Alicia Thompson getting one back for Chelsea. At Old Trafford this afternoon, it finished in the Premier League. Manchester United 3, Fulham 2. And as soon as we're finished here, we're going straight down south, where Spurs are taking on Manchester City. Full match commentary to come on that one. Mark Crossley and Phil Brown will be your men there. And of course, don't forget, Total Sport from 6 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll be rounding up everything that's happening on the final day of the transfer window. It's available for you with Gaz and Emily, and you can watch it as well. Just search Transfer Deadline Day on BBC iPlayer or listen live on your smart speaker. Just say play BBC Radio Manchester, and former United defender Wes Brown and ex-City midfielder Paul Lake will be with Gaz and Emily from 6 o'clock to round up deadline day for you. Aggie Beaver-Jones is still down here receiving treatment, so we have got quite a lengthy stoppage here, and we don't like to see this happen to any player.
No, and it did just show a recap a minute ago, so the ball actually coming from Kasparai from a throw-in for Tom Coffey, and it actually looks as though Beaver-Jones' ankle went under her. It weren't a challenge, no one's hit her ankle, and it's just been showing them strapping her ankle up, and they stopped and undid the tape, and she said it's not right, you need to put more on. So it's going to be heavily strapped. Now, whether she can continue, it's looking a bit unlikely, because if that's ligaments, that's just going to make it worse. But I'm not sure Chelsea have any substitutions left, do they?
No, they don't. They bring on the allotted amount that they're allowed. The fourth official, incidentally, is looking round, but he'll not see anybody coming out. He should know Chelsea have made the maximum amount of substitutions they're allowed to. Aggie Beaver-Jones is now back up and hobbling away over to this near side, the touchline. We just saw a shot there, I should say, of Sonia Bonpastor, the Chelsea manager. A very frustrated figure indeed.
Yeah, very frustrated. I was trying to see whether she was going to say anything to Beaver-Jones, who actually looks like she will go back on. I don't really know what you could say if you're Sonia Bonpastor, because actually City have done what they couldn't do in the League Cup, and they've been able to dominate today. They've been able to make it count and capitalise on the chances. They had a lot of possession against Chelsea last time, and like I said, it was a bit of luck that got them the goal in the end to win that game. So deserved today from City. Chelsea
down to 9 players, and 10 players I should say. Fagino almost getting in there around the back of Baltimore. Challenge, but the offside flag's gone up. Aggie Beaver-Jones is putting the boot back on, but City are still going forward. Fagino once more. They're trying to make room for a shot. Fagino could be in. She did get the shot away. It was on a weaker left foot, and she was also falling over as she did get the shot away, and she's landed quite heavily there, and straight away the referee stopped the game.
Yeah, I'm not sure what she's landed on. I think it's a shoulder by the looks of it, that the way she's landed. Hannah Hampton's even gone over to her. I don't know if it was just strength. Well, it was. I don't know. It was strength from Millie Bright. She gets there and puts that pressure on. She wins. She didn't actually win the ball. It was Carpenter, actually. When the ball's played through, it ends up going from Fagino, gets a touch, and it goes to Hampton. But she does land with a bit of a thud. We're just going to see now when she does land, she twists.
Yeah, she's twisting as she's landing, yeah. And she maybe landed full on her front there, Fagino. So we've got more stoppages now, and also we've got the unwelcome sight of a stretcher going out here. This looks like a nasty one for Fagino.
It does. I thought it was a shoulder, because the way she's twisted and landed, it looked as though a shoulder might have gone. There's a bit of laughing there from Hasegawa, so maybe she's not completely wrote off there, but it was quite frustrating to see. Millie Bright thought she was lay there and trying to play for time. She's gone to try and pick her up when she's on the floor, but clearly even the referee seen that was quite a heavy landing, so she stopped it. I don't like to see that from players, though, when a player goes down, you're not 100% sure if the injury is real or not, that you try and drag them up. But Fagino's not looking in a good way right now.
Well, she's still prone on the turf, I can tell you. Ayoba Fagino. We're being treated to a replay of Carolyn's hat-trick. That second goal, I'm still marvelling at it.
Yeah, it's one of the best goals I've seen. It is genuinely one of the best goals I've seen in the Women's Super League. You get somewhere, you hit it sweet off a volley, the ball off the bat, but the whole build-up from Hemp winning that ball to the ball being played to Carolyn, and the rest was Carolyn just left everyone in the dust, didn't she? And the finish was absolutely phenomenal. Thoroughly deserving for me today, Carolyn player of the match. Everyone on the pitch has been outstanding. Kanak, Yamashita, but you can't come in, score a hat-trick of that class and calibre and not get rewarded with player of the match.
Fagino is starting slowly to sit back up here, and she's perhaps just being told by the medical staff to just take it easy, don't rush it, and I'm pretty sure injury protocol here, Kirsty Ditchfield will surely not allow Ayoba Fagino to continue this game.
You wouldn't. You don't know what the outcome is if she gets up and walks off. I don't know whether it's head or not. It looks as though Laura Coombs is getting herself ready, so they may well bring Coombsy on and maybe move Grace Clinton out wide just to or even Mary Fowler out wide. That's a potential option. But yeah, she's not looking in a good way, and if I was the manager, I'd be bringing her off. She's only just come on, but I'd be bringing her off.
She's literally just led back down there with a bit of a thud as she gone prone again on the turf. And you would expect that all the medical staff here will just want to take their time and make sure that Ayoba Fujino is ready to be moved before they even do try to move her.
Yeah, she looks like she's getting herself up. She's not looking good. The staff's actually rubbing the back of her back, so she's not looking in a good way at all. But there'll be a hefty amount of injury time added on in this game. I reckon at least 10 minutes has got to be put on with a couple of injuries.
The board's just gone up. 12 minutes of time added on at the end of this game, and we've still not restarted yet because Ayoba Fujino is still down inside the penalty area. The medical staff, quite rightly, are taking all the time that they need here to just look after Fujino, who's now back to her feet. And City are going to make the change. I think it's going to be Laura Coombs who's going to come on here. Fujino's holding her head as she makes her way to the sideline very gingerly. Thankfully the stretch is not needed. Fujino is able to walk off the field, but you can definitely tell from the way that she's walking, she's taken a real knock there.
Yeah, she has, and sometimes when you hit the turf as well so heavy, it's made a massive impact on Fujino, who's only just come back really playing. So this will take a bit of a knock, but the way she's hit the turf, you've got the protocols of concussion. She's hit it hard and she looks very dazed. So right decision to bring her off 100%. She doesn't look great.
She's getting a very good reception as she makes her way round here in front of us. Laura Coombs is on to replace Ayoba Fujino, who already had the knee strapped. And now it looks as though she's suffered maybe a head injury as well as she makes her way round. Game is back underway. We're into 12 minutes of time added on. There may be 13 because of the way the game was restarted there. Here's Lauren Hemp sending the ball out towards the right hand side. Coombs' first touch for her, just on the field. Run here comes from Kasparai. Low cross into the box. That's going to go behind for a corner. It came off a Chelsea player last. And City are not done yet.
No, they're not done. They'll one another and another and another, and you walk out of the Etihad Stadium after playing Chelsea and you can give it the highest score possible. That is some statement for the WSL, for Manchester City. Let's be honest, in the games we've watched together, let alone all the games I've seen this season, they've been good value for it, haven't they? They have been playing extraordinary football, and this today just highlights the pinnacle of how good Manchester City have been this season.
Corner it is then, to be taken by Greenwood. Into the 6-yard box it goes. Millie Bright with the header away, and a shot from distance from Hasegawa. It might drop here for her teammates. It was Grace Clinton with the effort, and it's gone behind off a Chelsea play. It's another City corner. They're hunting the 6th.
They are, and it was very, very good defending. Millie Bright, I think, originally gets the header. Then the backwards header from Kennard falls to the feet of Hasegawa, who hits it first time. And the way the ball falls, Clinton just makes that run in off the defender. And I didn't see how that actually came off anyone from the replay.
Another corner comes back out towards Greenwood again. The corner taker through Hasegawa. Laid back here towards the little midfielder, who will send the ball back towards Yamashita. Just inside her own half of the field. Plays it forward, looking for Lauren Hemp. Controlled brilliantly by Hemp on this left-hand side. Trying to get away from Carpenter. Will settle for the throw-in. Here down the left, midway inside the Chelsea half. A look at the clock says we've played 93.5 minutes. So still quite a bit of injury time to go yet. As Clinton gets the ball back towards Hemp. Further back it goes towards Greenwood. And now Kanak infield towards Sam Coffey, who turns away from the attention she was receiving. And it's going to be City going forward down the right hand side. Here is Mary Fowler trying to get the cross away. There is the cross. It just got away from Clinton. In fact, it was just headed away by a Chelsea defender from Clinton. She was almost waiting to knock that ball back in to the penalty area. Here's Hemp. Hemp with the ball into the side of the 6-yard box again, cleared away. City are definitely pushing for the 6th.
They actually are really pushing for that next goal, and they've done some phenomenal work up and down the wings from Hemp, and even the runs and the balls played through from Kirsten Casbray as well. Fowler's looked very, very good since she's come on. For say she's been out for so long, she looks sharp, and I think clearly has worked hard. I watched a bit of a progress of Mary Fowler and her build up to getting herself back to training again, and some of the workouts and stuff that she's done has been phenomenal, and she does look like she's come back strong.
We'll have reaction to come on BBC Radio Manchester Sport. Don't forget, as soon as we're finished here, we're going straight to White Hart Lane, where Spurs are taking on Manchester City this afternoon. We'll go straight there as soon as this one's finished. We've played 5 minutes of the 12 which were added on here at the Etihad Stadium. City 5, Chelsea 1 in the WSL. Layla Wahhabi's about to come on here for Manchester City. Lauren Hemp going forward. Sam Coffey there waiting for a pass. Hemp turns and goes back towards halfway, finds Greenwood, and now Yamashita back towards Rebecca Kanak, and City happy to start again from just in front of their own penalty area.
This is the one thing City have done so well in this game, though, is even when they have had the goals, they've kept the ball in the right areas. They've not overplayed it. They've not given the ball away cheaply in their own half. And they've been able to control the game mostly throughout. When they're not attacking, they look to build that from the back. They've been able to keep the ball. Kanak's been really good at doing that. Alex Greenwood getting into good positions. And, yeah, they've been very, very good from front to back today, City.
Here goes Lauren Hemp. Beaten Carpenter, all ends up. Crossing opportunity. Carpenter just did enough to get back at Hemp and knocks the ball out of play. Carpenter thinks that the throw-in should go her way, and I think maybe she might have got the decision. No, she hasn't. Greenwood's coming forward. Layla Wahhabi's coming on here. Final change to be made by Manchester City. Not just yet, though. A City restart from the throw-in. Lauren Hemp laid back towards Greenwood, who just pokes the ball forward. Grace Clinton will keep it in play and find Hemp again. Another crossing opportunity. Drops for Sam Coffey. To the byline she goes and pulls it back. And a combination of Carpenter and Millie Bright get the ball away.
Good bit of play from Coffey there, actually. Clinton does really well. She makes that run to keep the ball in after, I think it was Greenwood tried to play the ball back down the channels. Coffey keeps it in. She gets the ball back into the box, and fortunate for Chelsea, they were able to get it away. But City back on the front foot again, just pressing for the 6th goal.
Lauren Hemp attacking the edge of the penalty area once more. Mary Fowler was crowded out there, but still City going forward. Grace Clinton feeds the ball into Hemp again, stands the cross up to the back post. Laura Coombs was coming in on it, but it's well defended by Chelsea. Jade Rose picks up on the clearance. City still pushing for the 6th. We've played 7 minutes of the 12 which have been added on. Time for 6 and a 7th, isn't there?
Exactly. And the thing is as well, Baltimore there, she does really well. She gets the initial block on the ball, it falls to her for her to clear it. And I think that's where the problems lay for Chelsea. I think because City have been so dominant on pressing Chelsea back, Baltimore's not had that freedom she had in the first half. The 30 minutes of the first half, Baltimore was up and down the line. She were getting into the area for Chelsea. She were playing the balls in. I don't think I've seen her get into them positions at all in the second half. And Chelsea just haven't had much when it comes to going forward.
Ball is played forward again, looking for Laura Coombs. This time Chelsea have intercepted it, and quickly City snapping back in to win it back. Edge of the box. Lauren Hemp wants to get in on the scoring act. Her shot is blocked from distance, and now Chelsea will send the ball forward, asking Thompson, Chelsea's lone goal scorer this afternoon, to go after the ball. But Yamashita's there to just thump it back down the field, straight into the path of Hannah Hampson. Look at the clock, says we've played 8. Just over 8 minutes of time added on. They'll be getting ready, I can tell you, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to get underway there. We will go straight there, I do promise you, once this one is finished. But City at the moment looking to go 11 points clear at the top of the table. Manchester United are moving to 2nd place after they beat Liverpool today. Here's Alex Greenwood inside the centre circle, surely brought down. She is, by Nusken. And that will be a free kick for Manchester City and a chance for Andre Yegelets to make his final change of the day.
Yeah, you'd be a bit fuming. You've been stood there for about 5 minutes and you're getting on the pitch for a couple of minutes, but it's all part and parcel of the game at this level, is making them changes when it matters, making the changes when it counts. And Greenwood's been phenomenal today. She's linked up so well with Lauren Hemp and Rebecca Kanak, and she'll get a standing ovation as thoroughly deserved, because she has put in an absolute graft today, and for me led by example. captain on the pitch, and she's definitely been a very welcome return after her own injury issues, and she's taken that left side of the defence spot, pretty much done a belting job since Owabi's been out injured, and she's returned.
Wahhabi's back on for Alex Greenwood, who's just taking her seat down below us. Yamashita, or Hasegawa, plays the ball forward, I should say, into the path there of Kasparai, who's ever getting forward down that right hand side every time City look to put on an attack. Hasegawa again plays a decent 1-2 in midfield with Clinton, who wants to set off now and get in on the scoring act herself. They all want goals here. Coombs with a decent looking cross. Lauren Hemp saved on the line by Hannah Hampton from an almost impossible angle. It almost was 6.
It almost was, and Hemp left-footed attempt there, and Hampton yet again when needed to has stood firm, but not every time she's been able to do that today.
And Chelsea at the other end looking for a goal themselves. Kinnair's effort is saved by Yamashita at point blank range on the near post from the right hand side. Kinnair again will find Carpenter. There's the pull back, should be cleared by Mary Fowler. It is. And now Clinton again, if she looks up, might release Lauren Hemp here down the left hand side. Hemp will receive the pass. It's a decent ball from Clinton. Hemp's just going to slow it down and allow teammates. She's almost at walking pace. She's almost stood still there, waiting for teammates to come and join her.
Yeah, now if it was 2-1 in the game at that point, Hemp would have ran via a 1v1 and would have looked to get a shot away, but shouldn't need to. It'd be great to get the 6th goal, but make Chelsea work, make them have to come and win the ball back off you. They've done all the hard work in this game today, and if they could get the extra goal, that'd be great for them, but slow the game down. You don't need to go hell for leather. You don't need to pull anything trying to sprint, so fair play.
Here goes Lauren Hemp down the left hand side. Hemp will poke the ball forward. We're into the final minute of time added on. Lauren Hemp with a chance here. There's a shot, and there's a block again from Carpenter to concede another corner. It doesn't look as though City will get 6, although they do probably have one last set piece to try and make it happen.
Yeah, be interesting. I think Kasparai is telling everyone to get in the box, and she will look to put the ball in, and maybe someone get on the end of it. I'd love to see Mary Fowler score, Kanak, or even Jade Rose, 3 players who I think would be good for a goal. I think it'd help them with the confidence a little bit, but I weren't sure. Carolyn's just been named the Stadium Player of the Match.
Yeah, no surprise there as Kasparai lines up this corner routine. That's the voice of Kirsty Ditchfield on Total Sport, BBC Radio Manchester this afternoon. Kasparai's delivery in towards the 6-yard box. It's headed away. It'll drop here for Coffey, who volleys it back into the box. Haven't got a header to it. Kasparai from a tight angle with the cross. Easy for Hannah Hampton to gather the ball in. All eyes now on the referee. We've played the 12 minutes that were added on. There might be another 30 seconds or so left to go. We will go straight to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as Alicia Thompson gets away down the right hand side here. Might be a chance for Chelsea to get one back. It's a shot which is blocked by Jade Rose, and Chelsea will have a corner themselves, and this will be little more than consolation for them.
Yeah, dodgy defending really from Jade Rose and from Kanak there to allow Thompson just to make that run. For me, she should have played the ball a bit earlier. There were 3 Chelsea players versus I think it was Hasegawa and Jade Rose at that point, so Thomas has tried to go for the shot. For me, should have looked to cross it, but now they've got the corner.
Baltimore's corner. City have been good defensively today, and an effort from a tight angle is conceded another corner by Manchester City. We've now played 13 and a bit minutes of time added on here, and Chelsea have restarted from the corner, and there's a delivery again. It might be an opportunity here, and there isn't, because Yamashita dives on the ball. It was Millie Bright's header, and the referee has decided that will do. It's been a wonderful day for Manchester City. So it's finished Manchester City 5, Chelsea 1 in your first Total Sport commentary. City now 11 points ahead of United who are second after they beat Liverpool by 3-1. Also today it's finished Manchester United 3, Fulham 2 after Benjamin Sesko scored a stoppage time winner. That's now 3 straight wins under Michael Carrick. We'll bring you his thoughts a bit later on Total Sport. But let's take you to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and your second commentary of the day. A win for Manchester City moves them back to 4 points behind leaders Arsenal. And your commentary team, the former Premier League manager Phil Brown, alongside Mark Crossley.
Thank you, Anthony. Welcome, everyone, to North London. Grey skies overhead here, but the atmosphere crackling. We've played 3 minutes of this game between Tottenham and Manchester City. 0-0 at the moment, but the Blues have had an early opportunity with Antoine Semenyo restored to the starting lineup, testing out Vicario, who made the save low down to his left. I'll give you the team news in a second, but let's get the early thoughts of the former Premier League boss, Phil Brown. Big opportunity early on.
It was a great opportunity. It's a little bit of counter-attacking play, and we're trying to work out, myself and yourself, what Spurs are playing. It looks like they're going to play a 3-4-3, and it's a new system to them.
Chip into the penalty area by Rodri, and Ryan Cherky was in there, but in the end the ball's drifted harmlessly out for a goal kick.
I think they have played a 4-3-3. They've been playing 3-5-2, but I think it looks to me as if it looks like a 3-4-3 anyway. Consequently, Haaland picked the ball up in the middle of the park, got a chance to turn. The centre-half was nowhere near him, got a chance to turn and just laid it into Semenyo's path, who worked the goalkeeper, to be fair. And I'm not here to tell Haaland how to play. If he followed up, it was a spill into the 6-yard box and he would have had a tap in.
Here's Cherky for Manchester City into Bernardo. Haaland again tries to release Semenyo. That time Paulinho cuts it out for Tottenham, and the ball is launched long downfield by Siemens towards Colin Mawani, who scored in midweek. Colin Mawani does well, ball with the outside of his foot towards Dominic Solanke on the edge of the Manchester City penalty area. Kusanov is there. The ball is up towards Semenyo, who's committed a foul, and it will be a free kick to Spurs. So an opportunity to give you the Manchester City team first of all, then 3 changes from the win against Galatasaray on Wednesday. Semenyo and Gueye were ineligible for that game. They're back in. Rodri was suspended. He returned. So it's Ake, Marmoush and the injured Jeremy Doku who drop out for Manchester City as Solanke wins possession for Spurs just outside the City penalty area, and now it's Destiny Udogie. Roll back to Siemens, chip ball, runner into the penalty area. Spurs managed to scramble the ball backwards, and it'll come out to Siemens again. Haaland's there. The referee Rob Jones steps over it, and Tottenham still have possession halfway inside the Manchester City half. So a couple of bright moments for the home side. So City have got Donnarumma in goal, a back four of Matthias, Kusanov, Gueye and Ryan Nori. Rodri is playing behind Bernardo and Nico O'Reilly, who remains in midfield. It's Cherky and Semenyo operating either side of Erling Haaland up front. The big Norwegian has scored all 3 of City's goals here in the past 2 seasons. As for Spurs then, 4 changes from their win against Frankfurt on Wednesday, which also took them through to the last 16 of the Champions League. Gallagher, Basuma, Solanke and Dragusin all return. It is Dragusin's first Premier League start in over a year. Danso and Spence are injured. Sarr and Odeberg both drop to the bench. No place for Mickey van der Ven. So Vicario in goal. It's Paulinho, Romero and Dragusin the back 3. Gray and Udogie the wing backs. Gallagher and Basuma in central midfield. Colin Mawani and Siemens with Solanke up top for Tottenham. It's Paulinho who tries to play the ball down the line. That one's bounced off Antoine Semenyo, and it is out for a Spurs throw-in.
I think this has been half. It looks as if he's read the situation. I'm talking about Pep Guardiola here. Read the situation that they're going to play 3 at the back, and I'm just looking at the starting position of Semenyo. It's almost alongside Haaland. It's as if he's playing as a striker in a striker's role, and Cherky more a little bit withdrawn. So it's a lopsided 4-3, 1 out wide, 2 up top. But I'm looking at Semenyo playing alongside Haaland. That could be potentially a match winner today.
Yeah, he's made a brilliant start to life in Manchester. 3 goals in his first 4 games after arriving from Bournemouth. And if you remember, his final sign-off on the South Coast was that winning goal for Bournemouth against Spurs at the start of January.
It has to be said, I think it's one of the signing. I mean, you talk when you play. When you sign for Man City, you're surrounded by good players instantly. Semenyo must have died and gone to heaven. That's what he must be thinking. Every time I get the ball, I'm looking up and Haaland's there, or you've got great players alongside him in midfield. He's just fell into the system and fell into the way City plays. And for me, the impact that he's had is unbelievable, considering the amount of great players that Man City have signed over the 10 years that Pep's been in charge.
7 minutes gone here at the incredible Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We have got a peach of a view, haven't we, Phil, from up here?
Beautiful.
And City are shooting left to right in this first half. They're all in black. Are Manchester City in their change kit today. Spurs in their traditional colours of white and dark blue. And City have won themselves a throw-in on the far side with Ryan Aït-Nouri, who played really well, I thought, against Galatasaray in midweek. And he is definitely playing at left-back with Nico Riley in midfield, and he's just so versatile, isn't he, O'Reilly? We've seen him play so well at left-back all season, but he can slot into central midfield and be at ease as Spurs emerge with possession. Seaman's up to the edge of the penalty area. Really strong challenge from Kushinov, which the City fans over in the far corner enjoyed, and Bernardo Silva will turn it all the way back to Donnarumma. Good
early challenge from Kushinov as well. He sort of like a sabre, he just went for it straight away and dispossessed the Tottenham player. And it had to be bang on, because if he misses the ball, he takes the man completely out and it's a free kick.
Rodri threads the ball through towards Ryan Cherki just inside the Spurs half. Challenge comes in, and now it's down to Matthias to try and maintain possession for Manchester City in the right back position for the Blues, which he does. Rodri rolls it back to Bernardo Silva, and now it's turned all the way back to Gianluigi Donnarumma. And if Manchester City can win here for a third successive season, they'll make a bit of history today. They haven't won 3 away league matches against Spurs for 52 years. And of course, it would really turn up the heat even more on Thomas Frank, because for the second season running, Phil, it's the European results for Spurs which are papering over the domestic cracks.
Papering over, that's a great comment, by the way, because it is papering over. I know both teams are playing on the back of a European success during the week, but it looks like Spurs have got 2 teams, and when they're playing in Europe, they look like a proper team. They've won 2 games at this new stadium this season. I mean, 2 out of 11. That just tells you how much pressure that these fans demand from a performance from Spurs players, and 1 or 2 of them are falling by the wayside, not being able to stand up to it.
Xavi Simons is going to take this free kick. The man who Spurs managed to sign pipping Chelsea last summer. An opportunity for him to launch an early free kick into the Manchester City penalty area. High line from City just outside the edge of the box. It goes wide instead, short to Udogie, gives it back to Seamans, and he'll now cross it. Seamans to the back post, header from Romero back across the face of goal, intercepted by Erling Haaland, and Antoine Semenyo put his boot through that, and it's high and out for a Spurs throw just inside their own half.
That sort of typifies Spurs to a certain extent. They've got 3 centre-halves on the field of play. Why do they play that? I think it's because of Romero. They're trying to protect him because he can be a loose cannon, but Romero in the opposition's box is by far one of the most potent centre-halves in the division, and we've just seen a little bit of that at the back post, where both centre-halves doubled up on the Man City back line at the back post, and he's got his head on it again. That's what he's there for, but he needs to do it more in his own penalty box.
Yeah, 6 goals this season for Christian Romero, 7 for Mickey van der Ven, who's not playing today. It Spurs 2 centre-backs who represent their real goal threat. Here comes City, edge of the penalty area. Cherki shoots! Brilliant! Manchester City strike first. 10 minutes played, and that's a crisp, low, right-footed strike that beats Vicario. All ends up into the bottom corner. He did it in midweek, and he's done it again. Ryan Cherki's 9th goal of the season. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1.
Mark, how easy was that, my word? 10 minutes into the game, and how to silence a crowd. The build-up to the game was absolutely brilliant, and it's an absolutely packed stadium, and especially the fans at the far end, City fans. But Cherki's just walked into the penalty box and buried it in the bottom corner with no challenge on him whatsoever. Great finish, worked the keeper, there's no doubt about it, far post, but what a finish, and it's just silenced everybody.
Yeah, Manchester City nicked possession back in midfield, and then it was with Cherki onto his right foot, and he just wound it up, and he beat the goalkeeper. All ends up. Oh, it took a slight deflection off Dragusin.
Yeah, but we can't blame the defender for that. He's got to get tighter, you know. It should have been a bigger deflection, and that would have stopped the shot. But Cherki, I tell you, every time you see him, he's grown in my estimation with regards to a great City signing. Brilliant.
So it's over to you, Manchester City. That was the message from Arsenal yesterday, and so far City have responded. Cherki's first Premier League goal in his last 6 league games. He has scored, of course, in the Champions League in the last 2 matches against Bodo Glimt and Galatasaray. Just shows what he's all about, Phil
Mark,
Brown.
he's just skipping along there. He's just won another challenge in the middle of the park. And Doggy, he's not renowned for his defending, but I tell you what, you've just got to get closer to that. Dragusin as well. I mean, both of them have got to step into Cherki because you know what he's capable of, and they've allowed him to go in the penalty box and have a free shot. Poor defending.
Bernardo Silva has possession. Manchester City have the lead then here in North London, as Rodri finds Bernardo again in the centre circle, and already Spurs chasing shadows. O'Reilly into Semenyo. Here comes City again. Semenyo's low ball pulled back towards the penalty spot. That one's intercepted and turned away by Basuma. Comes back to Ryan Aït-Nouri. This time the challenge from Paulinho is good. Spurs nick it off him. Ball in the end bounces off Rodri and out for a Tottenham throw-in.
Great start to the game for City. Absolutely magnificent. We always said that. I think the first goal, when you come to these stadiums, the first goal is vitally important, because if this crowd, this home crowd, gets up, it could be a long day. But City have got the first blood, and I tell you what, all you can hear is that them fans in the far corner making a lot of noise at the moment, because the team's 1-0 up, and deservedly so. Yeah,
maybe caught the Spurs defence cold a little with how early he took the strike, but Ryan Cherki opens the scoring. Too easy from a Spurs perspective, but Manchester City strike first, and they lead by 1-0 live on BBC Radio Manchester's Total Sport, and also on BBC Sounds. You can listen to our commentary anywhere in the UK this afternoon. Oh, that's poor from Basuma. Spurs are really their own worst enemy at the moment. Rodri into Semenyo. Now it's Bernardo back towards Semenyo, intercepted, but Tottenham can't keep doing that.
They're rocking already. I tell you what, they need to gather themselves, because they're only 13 minutes into the game, but City look like they've got a real strong foothold in the game. It's probably the style of play. I've just mentioned about Semenyo playing alongside Haaland, and Cherki's playing in like a false position. It's almost like a cheating role. He can drop into a pocket of space and plays the 10 or plays the 7 or plays the 11, and at this moment in time Spurs don't know what to do with him.
Here's Matthias on the right hand side, just in front of the Tottenham technical area. Thomas Frank is out there, as is Pep Guardiola, who is back in the Manchester City camp today. Missed the press conference ahead of this game on Friday due to a personal matter, so Pep Linders, his assistant, stepped in, but Guardiola is back, arms folded, out there watching his team just knock the ball about and pull Spurs from side to side. With City with the early goal, leading here by 1-0 already today. Manchester United with that dramatic 3-2 win over Fulham in the Premier League. Aston Villa beaten at home by Brentford, and it finished 1 apiece between Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace.
Interesting article in the paper about the assistant manager at Manchester City. He was threatened by I think the Liverpool manager, if you don't take the assistant job, I'll be taking it.
Oh, he was. It was a brilliant moment.
Great story.
In the press conference on Friday, he was asked how he'll feel about going to Anfield this time next week when City go to Liverpool. And the call that he got from Pep Guardiola when he took the assistant's job after 10 years with Jurgen Klopp, and Jurgen Klopp said to him, if you don't take it, I will. Here's Cherki again, edge of the area, he's on the deck. A brilliant back heel from Cherki, but he's gone down injured. Referee Rob Jones hasn't stopped the game. City still have it with Bernardo Silva. Cherki's rolling around just outside the penalty area, and I think now Kushnov is going to kick the ball out of play. He is. You can hear what the Spurs fans make of that.
Mark, this lad's a player. What a ball this is, just round the corner. It's rolled into him, into the 10 roll, and he just flicks it round the corner, and Romero's just took him out, and he's looking for the foul, to be fair, but he's flicked it round the corner to his fellow strike partner, and the referee wasn't blowing the whistle. Then Haaland had the ball at his feet in the penalty box, but he stayed down. That's worrying. Yeah,
we're just seeing a close-up shot of Cherki, who is in some pain. He picked up possession just outside the penalty area and shifted it onto his right, and the low finish is the only goal of this game so far, and he's just producing time and time again at the moment.
Mark, just watching the goalkeeper there, and everybody looks at goalkeepers, how's that gone in the far post, because it went inside the side netting, not just inside the post, and I think the goalkeeper's in mid-air when he's pulling the trigger, but he's thinking defender's got to get close here, so he's not going to have a shot if he's going to shoot through defenders, but the defender did nothing for him.
Well, he seems to be okay. He's back on his feet, is Ryan Cherki, and he's walking, albeit a little bit gingerly, just over to this near touchline, and Spurs, through a doggy, will take the throw in and presumably give the ball straight back to Manchester City. Spurs winless in their last 5 Premier League games, haven't won in the league in 2026, and Thomas Frank is under real pressure. Won just 4 of his last 22 home games as a Premier League manager, and already on the back foot in this one. Spurs do return the ball to the team all in black, who lead here by 1-0. Long ball forward by Rodri towards Erling Haaland, who's in behind. Dragusin trying to hold him back. Haaland with a chip. Oh, he's just miscalculated. It was a really good chance by his standards. Out came Vicario. He thought that he could just nick it over him, but it lands on the roof of the net.
Seriously, Mark, 17 minutes in, that could have been game over. And it was a ball over the top, which City are not renowned for at all. But Haaland's got two centre-halves wrapped round him, and he's beat them both for pace and he's beat them both for strength. And when he got there, I'm expecting him to bury that, and he's flicked it over the crossbar.
Spurs managed to get the ball forward to the halfway line. Here's Colin Mawani. Oh, he's just given it away again as he tries to feed it in infield to Seamans, intercepted. But now City should be able to tidy things up with Kushnerov, who's under pressure from Udogie, and he rolls the ball all the way back to Gianluigi Donnarumma, who's all in his traditional bright yellow now goalkeeping jersey for City, and they play it out so well. Gueye to Semenyo, now Rodri. So much space out there for Manchester City at the moment. Here comes Cherki again, similar position to where he caused the damage for the first goal. He tries to clip it in left-footed towards Haaland. The home fans not happy that no one came to close him down, but Spurs have now won the ball back halfway inside their own half, but there's no options really for Solanke. Home fans frustrated. Spurs do manage to keep possession, and now they come forward over the halfway line. Good ball into Solanke, who's into the penalty area. Across comes Kushnerov. Strong challenge right in front of those travelling Manchester City supporters to snuff out any danger.
Top draw defending. Kushnerov went to ground and he knew he had to, because Solanke was clear. But he came across and that was brilliant. It snuffed out a really promising chance there.
Here's Cherki again over the halfway line, seeing lots of the ball in the early stages.
That probably sums up the difference between the two teams at the moment, Mark. Kushnerov snuffed out a chance there. They didn't even get close. I'm talking about Tottenham centre-half. Didn't even get close to Cherki when he had the shot.
Gueye into Semenyo. O'Reilly makes the run into the penalty area. It's rolled back in the end to Vicario. All he can do is just clear it downfield. Spurs can't get anywhere near it, and Manchester City have made a really strong start in this game. 19 minutes gone, Spurs 0, City 1, and Rodri, who's back after missing the win over Galatasaray through suspension, has the ball in the middle of that centre circle. Now it's Bernardo Silva with the armband on. O'Reilly wants it rolled forward. It goes to Mark Gueye, who made his City debut against Wolves last weekend. Clean sheet on that day for the England defender, but couldn't play against Galatasaray because of the fact he was ineligible midweek. The home fans trying to get behind their side as City just play it round them in little triangles. Rodri to Bernardo. Now it's Nico O'Reilly. Challenge comes in on him, but City come away with it. It was a late challenge from Colin Mawani.
Seriously, got to have a word there. I'm telling you, he's got to have a word. He's left one on Rodri there, and I tell you what, it's a blatant foul. Terrible chance.
Could be the first yellow of the game as Rob Jones goes across. I think he's just going to give him a little bit of a ticking off. He is. We see it on the monitor here as Rodri plays it. That's late.
It's embarrassing. If a referee can't see that, it's a deliberate foul. I mean, people could call it professional foul or whatever you want to call it. The striker's laid one on Rodri to let him know he's there. Don't get me wrong, but Rodri's passing the ball around for fun, and the lad's left a late one on him. I don't know why it's not a yellow card. Instant for me.
Already one bit of news from Manchester City today, by the way. Stefan Ortega has left to join Nottingham Forest, and his arguably biggest moment in goal for City came here 2 seasons ago with that really important save from Son, which went a long way to City winning the Premier League as Spurs put City under a bit of pressure in their defensive third, and they've done well, Tottenham, to win the ball back. Here's Xavi Simons into the penalty area. Across comes Kushnerov. That's a really late challenge from him. Rob Jones, I think he's going to let the game go on. No, he's not. He's brought it back, and he didn't dish out a yellow to Colin Mawani a second ago, but he has dished out a yellow card now to Kushnerov.
That for me is poor refereeing. One, it was a foul, no doubt about it, and I thought it was a yellow card. But look where the ball is. The ball's at a Spurs player's feet in the penalty box, and if he just allows play on, Solanke's got an opportunity there. It's poor refereeing on 2 fronts there. It
was Conor Gallagher who was caught late by Kushnerov, maybe 6-7 yards outside the Manchester City penalty area, and the defender from Uzbekistan is the first man to go into the book here in North London this afternoon. We played 21 minutes in this first half. Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1. Cherki with a goal, but now an opportunity for Spurs to strike back from a set piece, and we saw them, Phil Brown, practicing set pieces pre-match.
Crazy, they showed the hand as far as I was concerned. It looked like they were defending set pieces, it had to be said. He had all the backroom staff, and there's plenty here, by the way. He had all the backroom staff in bibs, and it looked like he was holding a defensive set piece session, so they must have been practicing these kind of set pieces on the training ground. They wouldn't surely show your hand today.
Well, here we go, free kick, 3-man wall for City. It's Seamans who'll take this free kick. Rob Jones blows the whistle. Plenty of white shirts in that penalty area. Strike comes in, hits the wall. Rodri with a block, and Donnarumma's off his line to claim the ball in mid-air for Manchester City, and Spurs really didn't make the most of that opportunity from the dead ball.
On that cushion off point, it's a long time to be. You're on a yellow card, you've got to stay on your feet now, and he's not that type of player, is he? He does like contact, he does like going to ground, he does like a foot race every so often, so it's a long time, 70 minutes to be staying on your feet and not getting involved.
Yeah, young player, big atmosphere, sometimes rash moments can happen. He's on a yellow card now as Mark Gay rolls it back to Donnarumma for Manchester City. They go long towards Haaland, takes it down on his chest, and he's given a barge in the back by Dragusin. Referee says play on. Here goes Cherki again. He's in behind that Spurs defence, thinks about the early ball to Semenyo. Dummies it, now back onto his right foot. Still Cherki. Oh, dances around too. What a goal this would be. And he flashes the shot across the face of goal. There's hands on heads from the City players in the penalty area, jinking in and out. Magical skill from Ryan Cherki, only this time he didn't have the finish.
What a player, Mark, what a player. He's walked around Romero, he's put the other centre-half, Dragusin, on his backside, and he's had a shot. It's a save, by the way. He's claiming it for a great save, by the way. When you see it on the replay, Cherki's claiming it was a corner, he didn't get it.
That was so close, just wide, and Cherki would have had one of the goals of the season. And as you say, Phil, Dragusin not only on the deck, I mean he did sort of put him on the deck, but he just threw himself to the deck. Bizarre defending.
That for me is the reason why Spurs don't keep clean sheets. It's poor defending. They look like they're just going to ground. It's almost going through the motions. I mean, we're looking at it again, he's just lying down, and with a guy like Cherki, the ball at his feet, you've got to stand up and frustrate him if you possibly can.
That was a brilliant save actually from Vicario on the replay. It's his right fingertips that just get something to it. Oh, and it takes it a whisker wide of the post.
It's a great save. It's a great save.
Not spotted by the officials, and Cherki's down again here. This is worrying. He's been the standout player, scored the only goal of the game, could have had a second there, but he went down earlier on the edge of the penalty area when he was caught late by Romero, and he's back on the deck here. And having lost Doku midweek, City don't want another injury. They've got their injury problems at the minute. Diaz, Stones, Kovacic, Savinho, Vardiol. There's a bit of an injury list.
It is a change,
and it looks like Reinders might have to come on.
This could be a big change. He looks like he's the man of the match at the moment. You're 20 minutes into the game and everything he's touching turns to gold. Semenyo in a role alongside Haaland, it's a different kind of position for him. He might have to drop out, and whoever's coming on, it looks as if it's going to be Reinders, who's a midfield player, so it could be a different role for quite a few of them at the moment.
Yeah, Cherki's still down there receiving treatment. There's Pep Guardiola and a couple of his coaches, Pep Linders, down there in discussion. In fact, Guardiola's now walked out of his technical area. He's gesturing to Cherki. Doesn't appear to be too happy. I think he wants to know what's going on. He's given him a big hug now, and now Guardiola's got his arm outstretched. It looks like Reinders is going back to the bench.
Correct.
So I think what's going to happen is Cherki's going to be able to carry on. And I think Pep Guardiola's saying to him, are you able to carry on or not? Let us know. And Cherki's looking at him very nonplussed.
Listen, when you get the Pep hug, you've got to stay on the field, surely.
Guardiola clearly frustrated, because I think they felt that Cherki was intimating that he couldn't continue, and now he's like, no boss, I'm fine.
Well, you're only 25 minutes in. He's scored a goal. The keeper's just pulled off a great save to avoid a second goal, and he's been heavily involved that much. He's been injured twice on the field of play, and the physio's been on a couple of times.
26 minutes gone. Spurs 0, City 1. And Cherki, who scored the goal, is now back on the field. He's allowed to re-enter on that touchline. Fourth official is Andy Madley, and he's got his work cut out because Pep Guardiola's now in his face again, gesturing, unhappy with a free kick that's been awarded to Spurs inside the centre circle. There's a smile from Erling Haaland.
He's complaining, I think, about Romero, who does play the game, it has to be said. He's looking at Romero, and Romero's looking at the touchline and back at him. He's gone over very, very easily, and Haaland can't believe it neither.
Well, Spurs have got the game back underway, and it's Paulinho who turns the ball all the way back to Vicario, who's in bright purple in the goal away to our right, and he made that magnificent save from Cherki a couple of moments ago, although it wasn't spotted by the officials. That's the reason that City don't have a 2-0 lead here, as Matthias picks up possession, fed by Kusanov. He'll roll it all the way back to Donnarumma, who clears it downfield. That one's headed towards Pep Guardiola on the touchline. Challenge comes in from Bissouma, headed on by Dragusin, and now down by Siemens towards Conor Gallagher. Bit of a high boot there on Nico O'Reilly. Referee's happy enough. O'Reilly comes away with it into Haaland, attempts the first time ball to Semenyo. Too much on that, and it runs through to Vicario.
Good effort. He obviously seen the pass, but Semenyo really is playing up alongside Haaland. I don't know if he's been doing that before, but he looks like he's playing as a second striker for sure.
Remember, Manchester City win this game, they will cut that gap back to 4 points in the title race against Arsenal. City's winning 11 points clear now in the WSL after they hammered Chelsea this afternoon in your first commentary game on Total Sport by 5-1. Strong challenge by Ryan Aït-Nouri and Rodri. City come away with it, and now it's Mark Gay into Kushinov in the heart of that City defence.
Sorry Mark, the crowd's reaction, it's almost like you can't go to ground, you can't have a tackle. Surely it's part and parcel of the game.
Ryan Aït-Nouri has it for City, into Rodri, and now Bernardo Silva. Lovely cushion ball back out to Ryan Aït-Nouri. So cute with his distribution is Bernardo, very silky footballer. Matthias has it, and it goes to Bernardo again, takes it on the half turn, and he's clipped by Colin Mawani. Free kick to City.
That's 3 challenges now, Mawani, and he's fouled every time, and he hasn't been yellow carded yet.
No.
He's got to be running a fine line, him.
Gay into Rodri, middle of the pitch for Manchester City, who lead 1-0 on Total Sport here on BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds. Ball into the penalty area by Matthias, headed away by Dragusin, bounces back off Bernardo and drifts into the arms of Vicario, and you can sort of hear the reaction of the Tottenham supporters around the stadium, Phil.
Yeah, listen, when you're at home, you've got a new stadium, you've got 60,000 punters here, and you're a goal behind early on, you've got to play with some kind of tempo. You've got to give them something that they believe they can get something out of the game, and at the moment it's a little bit sort of nonplussed, one-paced, half-hearted, I can't describe it any other way.
Gray does well into Paulinho, chip ball into Siemens, takes it on his chest, centre of the field, strong challenge from Rodri, across comes Bernardo, but Xavi Siemens comes away with it for Spurs. Rodri's there again, strong challenge this time by Rodri, a little bit of pushing and shoving between him and Archie Gray, but the free kick has been awarded to Tottenham by the referee Rob Jones.
Just little niggly tackles like that, get the punters going, it's crazy, but you want the referee to play on. You want the referee to let the game go for 2 or 3 seconds after a foul to see if there's any kind of advantage, and he did there. But the supporters seem to be getting frustrated because they're 1-0 down.
Yeah, free kick to Spurs, 6 yards inside the City half. Romero's going to leave it for Bissouma, who's back in the Spurs midfield today. They've had their own injury problems of Tottenham, missing several key figures at the moment. James Maddison, who's missed the entire season, as has Dejan Kulusevski, Mohamed Kudus, Ben Davis, Pedro Porro, Lucas Bergvall, Richarlison, Rodrigo Bentancur. So they've got a lot of players missing of Tottenham, but of course so too of Manchester City, and they lead this game by 1-0. Thrown from Aït-Nouri towards Haaland, bounces off the big Norwegian. Rodri turns it back towards Donnarumma. A little bit of nervousness in the City back line, but it's Donnarumma who tidies things up. Of course, it was in that game against Spurs earlier in the season when City were their own worst enemies in their own penalty area with James Trafford. The home fans are not happy again because this time Rodri has won City a free kick.
He's bought the foul, to be fair. It's clever play by Rodri because he's in front of his own, he's back 2. And if he gives the ball away there, it's going to be a 3-on-2 situation. So he went to ground hoping that the referee would give a free kick, and he did.
Donnarumma has it for Manchester City. Chip ball out to defence to Nico O'Reilly. Tries a first-time flick to Semenyo. He's not had as many touches in the last few minutes. Antoine Semenyo on that left-hand side. Turns it into Bernardo Silva, and now it's Rodri again on the half-turn. There's a challenge on him by Conor Gallagher. And the referee's given a foul against the England midfielder.
I must admit, I would have let that go myself. I thought it was a fair challenge. It looked like it was a half decent.
Matthias into Haaland now. Bernardo again, busy as ever over the halfway line. Back to Erling Haaland. That's great from Bernardo Silva. Here goes Haaland racing towards the Spurs penalty area. This time Dragusin gets across there, but they can't clear it too far, and those black shirts just keep on coming. Aït-Nouri into Cherki, and Manchester City will move it over to this right hand side. Here's Matthias, and Spurs just can't get out of their own half, really.
Gay's just made a challenge there, and it's the type of challenge that you want to see for a centre half. He's just read the ball and he's intercepted it into a striker's feet, and Man City can regain and play again. That's exactly what you want your 2 centre halves to do.
Brilliant value, isn't it, getting Mark Gay for £20 million?
Best business I've heard of for a long, long time.
Well, maybe since Cherki.
Yes.
His goal is the difference here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is a magnificent arena. It's been a great, overcast Sunday afternoon here in North London. A little bit of a chill in the air. Phil's got the flat cap on, but you wouldn't expect anything else.
Just protect the hairpiece.
Donnarumma, long downfield towards Erling Haaland, who chests it down towards Bernardo Silva. Seamans nips in and intercepts for Spurs. Now he can gallop towards the City penalty area. Ball's on into Kolo Muani. He's forced wide, pulls the ball back, but it's behind Solanke. Anyway, the assistant referee's flagged for offside. Rob Jones is letting the game continue. Semenyo's lost possession on the halfway line, and now Manchester City have it through Bernardo Silva. And now it's Rodri again.
I was calling offside all day long, but it was it's one of them where the flag goes up late.
Given away by Matthias. A couple of step overs by Destiny Udogie. Turns it into Seamans, gets it back, gets a warm reception from the Spurs fans below us. And now it's Udogie on the left hand side, level with the edge of the City penalty area. Back it goes to Seamans. Spurs 0, Manchester City 1. We've got 12 minutes left of this first half on BBC Radio Manchester, on Total Sport, and on BBC Sounds as Seamans comes forward. Oh, he's got too much on that, has he, for Udogie? He has. Didn't get the pass right. Offside flag's gone up anyway, actually.
You could see as soon as it left his foot, it's frustrating from Spurs' point of view, because they're probably the best two players at the moment, and he's overhit the pass and it's just gone out harmlessly for a goal kick. Puts Manchester City back in charge.
It does. Just over 24 hours to go until the transfer window closes. I tried to ask Pep Lijnders about that on Friday. He just gave me a big smile and says we're very happy with our business. So I'm not sure there'll be any new faces coming in at the Etihad, but we'll find out. We're covering all the transfer deadline day news and moves from 6 o'clock tomorrow with a special 2-hour Total Sport. Former City midfielder Paul Lake and United treble winner Wes Brown joining Gaz and Emily. You can watch it live as well on the BBC iPlayer. Just search for transfer deadline day or listen live via your smart speaker. Just say play BBC Radio Manchester. Kushanov on the halfway line for Manchester City, who lead here by 1-0. And it goes to Rodri. Now Cherki shows short for it, and Cherki just slows the game down, draws Solanke out, and now feeds Rodri, and it goes to Semenyo, and now O'Reilly. City move it a bit quicker. Semenyo to the edge of the box. Challenge comes in from Basuma, bounces to Aït-Nouri. Is in a bit of a scrap on the far side with Romero. City have it, fed into Cherki inside the penalty area. Solanke's back defending in his own box for Spurs. Solanke knocks it out to Rodri, who clips it in towards Erling Haaland. Bit too much on that though, and that will run out for a Tottenham goal kick.
I thought if he was going to attack that ball, it was going to be a free header at the back post, because the centre half was facing his own goal. It was poor defending. His body language was suggesting that Erling Haaland was in the ascendancy there, and he didn't put his head in.
Well, there was ironic cheers there from the home supporters. Oh, Spurs have given it away again. Rodri slip. Here comes Gallagher though, striding forward over the halfway line. City lead 1-0, and it goes to Seamans a few yards outside the City box. Square ball from him. Paulinho coming forward in support, but the move's lost a bit of momentum. It's fed into Seamans again. He's at the heart of everything Spurs are doing here. Paulinho to the right hand side. Oh, that's a poor ball, and brilliant from Mark Gay, who steps across. Gray there wins it back for City, and now Bernardo Silva should complete the clearance.
Top draw defending again, just gets outside the striker. If you teach people outside shoulder, it's just reading the pass into a striker's feet, and he's done it brilliantly twice so far.
Bernardo Silva, now Antoine Semenyo, chance for him to run at Romero. Cuts inside onto his right foot, but Romero does well, wins the ball. Semenyo's down, complaining at the referee, thinks that was a free kick. No real complaints from Pep Guardiola on the touchline. Spurs come forward again. Now Kolo Muani into the penalty area. Is this a shooting opportunity on the angle? Rolls it back to Seamans. He really should have pulled the trigger there, and the Spurs fans can't believe it. And Bernardo Silva and Rodri are now trying to gang up on him, and they have done, and they've nicked possession back. And really, Spurs should have taken the opportunity. Here comes City on the break. Semenyo's got space. If Cherki can find him, he can. He's been forced a bit wide. Level the edge of the penalty area. Haaland's in there. Here goes Semenyo. Tries to go round his man. I think that took a nick, and I think that should be a corner. The referee's giving the decision to Spurs, and the home fans behind that goal, and that huge stand that keeps going on and on away to our right. Again on the backs of Antoine Semenyo.
It looks like a free kick and a corner, and he got neither of the decisions. It looked like he was brought down by the centre half, who looked very exposed, and you could tell he was going to go to ground. But then if it wasn't a free kick just in the edge of the box, it was a corner, and he got neither.
Basuma back to Romero. And now it's Basuma again with his back to goal.
This is what the Spurs fans don't want to see. It's just slow passing, and You know, Man City can do it because they're away from home and they can keep possession, but Spurs need to be doing more of this.
Into a doggy, chance for him to get on his bike and have a go at Matthias, rolls it into Solanke, back to goal, edge of the area, works it out to Gallagher, who turns it wide to that right hand side. Gray back to Bissouma. Spurs 25 yards out. City really in control in this game. Ball into the penalty area. Solanke lays it off. Seaman shoots. That's blocked well by Matthias. And City now scrapping to win the ball back in midfield. And Rodri's ended up on the ground. Haaland wants a free kick, and the decision has gone to Manchester City. But Tottenham do need to do a little bit more of that, Phil Brown.
Absolutely. By the way, good defending again. You know, individually good defended by Man City. You know, every so often little things go unnoticed to a certain extent, but you can see by the high fives and the low fives by the back four when they're pleased with what, you know, that individual's done. And at this time it was Nunes.
Yeah, a yellow card's been dished out for a foul by Xavi Simons, who's probably the bright spark in this game so far for Tottenham Hotspur. He was late there on well, in the end it was Rodri. I think there's a couple of City players in a bit of a pile on the ground, and he gets a yellow card.
Looks like it's a tough game for the referee because he's getting pelters from all the players. They seem to be after him more often than not, you know, after he's made decisions. But I don't think he's making decisions quick enough.
City take the free kick, and now Bernardo Silva can push forward to Cherki. Back it goes to Rodri, clips out to Ryan Aït-Nouri on the left hand side. It's not been a great first 38 minutes for Thomas Frank and Tottenham, but it's been a really good first 40 for Manchester City, who have the lead through Cherki, and now they're hungry for more. Bernardo tries to turn it back to Cherki. That one's just bounced off a Spurs boot, and Cherki's on the ground again. He spent as much time on the ground as he has on his feet in this game so far. But now an opportunity for Nico O'Reilly. Lovely little cultured ball with his left foot into Semenyo, who's looking for options. Now it's Ryan Aït-Nouri, who's level the edge of the Spurs penalty area. Back it comes to Rodri, who's in that role at the base of the City midfield, the pivot role again. Rodri has it. Bernardo next to him. Semenyo's caught a little late by Gallagher after the ball went. But now it's rolled back to Rodri on the halfway line. And there's a few whistles and not much noise from the home supporters here. They're all stood on their feet watching their team struggle again in the Premier League. Remember, Spurs 17th in the Premier League last season. They're 14th at the moment. And if they lose this game, it would be 10 defeats in the league for the 8th consecutive season. And as we said earlier, Europa League winners last year and into the last 16 of the Champions League. And those European results are really masking what has been a rotten couple of years for Tottenham Hotspur.
We've just had a brilliant pre-match, haven't we? The talk, the food, the entertainment that we've had before we got here. Then you come into this beautiful state. This is surely too big to go into the Championship.
Well, I think you said that to a couple of people downstairs.
They didn't like it.
They didn't.
No. But it could, you know, conceivably. Last year, you're looking at a manager who lost his job because of it, yet he won a trophy. And that trophy sign is splattered all over the place as you're walking up here. They give you big reminders that they've just won a European trophy, yet they lost the manager. Yeah,
there's a big sign, isn't there, just outside the stadium near where we came in. It says Europa League winners 2025. Not that Manchester United fans need reminding about that.
Yeah.
Spurs 8 points clear of the relegation zone as things stand. And it's probably the form of those bottom three clubs which is going to save the likes of Forest and Spurs at the moment, rather than their own results. And now Conor Gallagher on the far side has gone in with a strong challenge, but it's out for a City throw.
It's doom and gloom, isn't it? It seems to be doom and gloom, but every time you come to a Man City game, it's nothing but positive vibe about the club, about the winning mentality, about the way they play. Everything about Man City is positive at the moment, but still got a job to do trying to catch Arsenal.
They do. Stays like this, City will be 4 points behind Arsenal again. Of course, Arsenal gave them a sniff with that 3-2 defeat to United a week ago, but they were impressive winners 4-0 at Ellen Road against Leeds yesterday. Rodri clips it out to Semenyo. Now City come forward. Cherki and Haaland are in the penalty area. Semenyo, who feints back, will roll it back to Cherki just behind him. It was actually a similar position from which Doku fed Cherki for the second goal against Galatasaray, but this time the ball not quite right from Semenyo.
This is what they don't like, you know. They've done good defending there, you know, albeit it was bad play from Man City strike force. And Spurs have now got 5, 6, 7, 8 passes in their own half. I think the Tottenham fans just want to see a good counter-attack with a bit of pace.
Romero, the big central defender for Tottenham Hotspur, into Dragusin, who has not had the greatest first 40 minutes up against Ryan Cherki on the left-hand side. He's had an awful 12 months with that terrible ACL injury. His last Premier League start was against Leicester just over a year ago, and to be honest, it's shown in this game so far. Put on his deck by Cherki, and City nearly had a second. Spurs have managed to play their way out this time. Long ball towards Solanke, and that's just food and drink for Kushanov, who knocks it into Rodri. And we've got Dominic Solanke rocking the short shirt and gloves combo today. Discuss, Phil Brown.
I just don't get it. I really don't. Short sleeve shirts and gloves, I don't get it. And it's a beautiful day, isn't it?
Cherki into Rodri on the halfway line. We've got 2.5 minutes left in this first half. Live on BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds. Already great drama in the Premier League this afternoon with that incredible Benjamin Šeško goal in front of the Stretford end, deep in stoppage time, to win Michael Carrick's third successive game as United manager. In fact, we were in the press room here at Spurs. Gary Neville was down there in front of us. I can see him just in front of us down here a couple of rows doing his TV work, and well, he was a bag of nerves in those last few minutes, as all United fans were, as Fulham threatened the draw. But United came away with all 3 points. Now can City do the same? Rodri out to Matthias on the right-hand side. He's got a little bit of space. The doggies backpedaling. Matthias into Cherki. Tries a poke ball to O'Reilly. Comes off Basuma. Cherki again towards the edge of the box. Now it's rolled square by Matthias. Ryan Aït-Nouri thinks about the shot and just slices it badly. And it's out for a Spurs goal kick.
Oh, you don't expect that from a Man City player, do you? First touch was poor and it was bouncing up, and he's trying to hit it on a half volley, and he's slashed at it like a second division player. And that's not being disrespectful of a second division player, but it was poor play from a Man City player.
Dragusin takes the short goal kick rather than Vicario for Spurs, out to Udogie on this left-hand side. So about 90 seconds to go until we'll see from Andy Madley how much additional time we'll get at the end of this first half. City lead 1-0 and chasing a third straight win in this stadium. Here's Bernardo for Semenyo for 2. 2-0 to Manchester City. Antoine Semenyo slots it home and then backflips his celebration in front of the Tottenham fans. What an impact he's made since arriving from Bournemouth. Spurs are sick of the sight of him. Semenyo scores the second. Spurs 0, Manchester City 2.
I know it's nearly half time, 44 minutes on the clock, but there's a lot of Spurs fans have turned round and make it for the exits. It's horrendous. And what a goal, by the way. They've been pretending to play from the back, and I don't think the Spurs fans are having it. And there's a couple of passes that have gone astray, and City have put a full press on, intercepted the pass. The pass goes into Semenyo. I'm not saying he can't miss because the keeper comes flying at him, but it's a great finish to actually kill the game, if you want to call it that way. 2-0 Man City.
Yeah, Bernardo Silva, the one that laid it on a plate for Antoine Semenyo, who's now got 4 goals in his first 5 games since arriving in Manchester. And it's already looking like an excellent piece of business from Pep Guardiola, who punches the air in celebration.
That's what you call a signing, by the way. 4 goals in 5 games, and he's a winger who provides for Erling Haaland, and he's put 4 in the net himself. Fantastic signing. 4
added minutes, by the way, at the end of this first half, and it's Antoine Semenyo who's now got 14 goals across the season for both Bournemouth and Manchester City, and Tottenham have got so much work to do in this game. And it could get a lot worse. Long ball towards Semenyo again. Out comes Vicario. And I just think about, I know Spurs won the Europa League, Phil, last season, but I think some of the great Spurs teams in the last few years, the likes of Gareth Bale and Harry Kane and those kind of teams, this lot are way off it.
Mark, you just rattled off about 9 names, and I thought you had a list in front of you, because I was thinking, wow, he's getting bigger and bigger, that list. The players not available to Thomas Frank, but nobody will cut him any slack where that's concerned. Spurs are all about winning. Spurs are all about winning at home as well, and it's something that they can't do at this moment in time.
Mark Gay has it for Manchester City, and it goes to Cherki, knocked back by Bernardo Silva. And as it stands, the City fans will enjoy their journey back to Manchester tonight. On my train down here this morning, Phil, there was the train staff, I think there was a City fan amongst the train staff, because Blue Moon was played over the speakers as we rocked up to London Euston.
Not bad.
And it's
on repeat, I hope.
It's been blaring out here as well from that section on the far side of the ground in this first half. We played 90 minutes of the 4 additional minutes here at half-time. When we get to half-time, we'll bring you reaction, of course, from some of the earlier action today, including that dramatic United win over Fulham. We'll hear from Michael Carrick at half-time, and also we'll hear from Carolyn, who scored a hat-trick for City's women as they thumped Chelsea in the WSL to go 11 points clear. And don't forget, by the way, when we're done here, you can have your say on this game with Phil Brown. Here comes Spurs, though. Colin Mawani into the penalty area. Turns the ball back towards Gray. That's intercepted by Mark Gay. Excellent work from Gay, and Ryan Aït-Nouri completes the clearance.
He got himself out of a little bit of trouble there. He committed it's a mistake by him. You know, he dropped a clanger, and he actually bailed himself out with great defending. Yet again, Mark Gay.
Here's Destiny Udogie for Tottenham, left-hand side. Rolls it in to Seaman. Shoot, say the Spurs fans. He goes to shoot. His shirt is pulled by Rodri just outside the penalty area. I think Rodri might get a yellow card for that. He does. And it's a Spurs free kick in a dangerous position just on the stroke of half-time.
Very noticeable that Rodri did that, you know, because at the end of the day, it's a professional foul because he knows this lad can score from that position. And he thought, I'll take the free kick. Because that looks like it's a shot on target from 22 yards. He didn't realise that O'Reilly was just behind him, intercepting it, and he could have got away with that. But a yellow card to Rodri, so that's 2 of the City players on yellow cards.
Yeah, 2 yellow cards. Kushanoff and Rodri in the book, Basuma and Siemens for Spurs. So 4 yellows dished out by Rob Jones in this first half. He also booked Pep Guardiola the last time he refereed Manchester City, and that was that game at Forest just after Christmas when Cherki was the match winner, and Cherki and Semenyo, the 2 players who've got the goals so far. How big is this, Phil? Just on the stroke of half-time, Spurs need one back.
It's a big moment in the game. If Spurs score this, it's game on, second half. If they don't score this, it's 2-0. Half-time team talks are a little bit different. Thomas Frank is going to be hoping and praying that he can put the ball in the back of the net, yes, so to make his life a little bit easier rather than going in ranting and raving yet again.
Free kick to Spurs just outside the penalty area. Looks like Siemens is going to hit this. Referee blows the whistle. 4-man City wall. Central position. Right-footed strike. Goes past the wall. But in the end, it's pretty tame. Safely into the arms of Gigi Donnarumma.
Very tame. Never mind pretty tame. Very tame. Obviously, the guy that's lying down underneath the wall has made it quite easy that it was only one place he could hit it, and it was right down Donnarumma's throat.
We've got about 60 seconds left of this first half. There's lots of gaps away to our right amongst the Tottenham supporters. And if I was Thomas Frank, I'd be covering my ears in about 60 seconds time.
Just a bit. These are the moments.
In fact, it might be before then, actually. In fact, it's now.
And there we go.
And there you have it. I thought we might get a little bit more added time there because of the free kick that was awarded at the end of that first half. But the referee, Rob Jones, has blown the half-time whistle, and resounding boos around this Tottenham Hotspur stadium, a magnificent stadium. But at the moment, the home team are far from magnificent. Manchester City, on the other hand, have been very impressive in that first 45 minutes. Ryan Cherki surprised Vicario by taking his shot early on, beat him low down to his right. Vicario, with a brilliant save, prevented Cherki making it 2. But then it was 2 when City won the ball back into Bernardo Silva, and he laid it on a plate for Antoine Semenyo, who knocked it home to make it a half-time score here, Stacey, of Tottenham Hotspur 0, Manchester City 2.
Thank you, Mark. And Phil, Mark and I spoke earlier, we had a brief conversation in the build-up to this game, and we were saying that Spurs have been somewhat of a bogey team for City, despite them getting the last 2 league wins there. But we know they've struggled against them at times, and even if they've got the result, haven't looked great doing it. But goodness me, today, just not the case for this first half at all.
Stacey, there's a gulf between the 2 teams, and there shouldn't be. You know, when you come into this stadium, you go, wow, this is a big club. Well, big clubs have got to have big players out there, and Spurs haven't got any big players out there. You know, the ones that you're talking about, heavily laden upon 1 or 2 of the players, and they're not good enough to do that, you know. Whereas I think you can spread the joy, you can spread the size of the players that Man City have got around 11 any day of the week. You can put 11 out, and you can put the second 11 there as well. So the gulf between the 2 clubs is on the pitch at this moment in time, and Spurs are nowhere near. They're nowhere near. And I'm not joking. Listen, can they afford? Can this stadium be in the Championship? If they don't do something about it quick, and I don't mean get rid of Thomas Frank, if they don't do something about it, the mentality of the team when they cross the white line is not right. And consequently, City, that's the reason why they're winning. They've grabbed a hold of that. You get a smell of it, Stacey, when you come to places like this. And I think City have got a smell of that, and they've grabbed a hold of this game by the scruff of the neck.
It's certainly a grim picture. I mean, the sort of body language of Thomas Frank, obviously, as Mark just said, he knows what he's going to be facing when that whistle goes, and the camera's panned out to several sets of fans all looking really, really forlorn, as you would expect, and it's that kind of feel that you're talking about, isn't it, that's quite worrying.
Well, they've won 2 games out of 11. It looks like it's going to be 2 games out of 12. And when you spend the amount of money that they've spent on this stadium, you'd expect it to be a fortress. How can you make it a fortress? Because it's a lovely place. It really is. It's a beautiful place. You can't make it a fortress, so therefore you can't make it a fight. And if you can't make it a fight, you're going to lose games, especially when City are in town, because they've got big players who come to the big stadiums and go, wow, I belong here. And they've turned it on again. So again, it's the mentality of a group of players that are probably fearing crossing the white line when they're playing at home, and you can't have that. When you play for Spurs, you've got to have a pair, and if you haven't got a pair, you're the wrong player.
And what must be really frustrating from Thomas Frank's point of view is the mistakes that they're making, because albeit yes, they don't have that depth, they don't have those big players, the fundamental mistakes that players at that level ought not to be making. But of course, I appreciate once you add on the pressure and that mentality, it happens, but still frustrating nonetheless from his point of view.
Stacey, I'm really going to put it on him here, because if they're playing the way Thomas Frank's asking to play, he's asking for a home defeat again. And what I mean by that is 3 centre-halves, okay, no problem. Semenyo is playing alongside Haaland, so he's nullified the 3 centre-halves so they can put a press on. But they're playing from the 6-yard box. The goalkeeper, the 3 centre-halves are playing from this. As soon as they played the first pass, the whole stadium started booing. So if that's not what they want, can they play another way? And if you look at the size of the 2 strikers, they're big enough to hit. Put it into them. Let them get it, the second ball and play from there, because they've got good players, but it's just the way they're playing. The whole stadium's against it. So don't do it. Hit the strikers and then play from there. But they're playing with a lack of tempo and intensity as well. It's slow, it's lethargic. And that's where City's second goal came from. Slow, lethargic pass out, intercepted, ball into Semenyo, goal, 2-0, game over.
That was a really clinical finish too. We'll make a couple more points on City in just a minute, but from a Spurs point of view, you mentioned that they need to change things quickly. You've just talked about how they could alter or adapt to the way that they're playing on the pitch. Outside of that, what doesn't it, and you've mentioned you don't mean getting rid of Thomas Frank, what can turn things around when a club is in this sort of position? And as you say, with big expectations, this huge, stunning stadium, I've only been there for the boxing, not the football, but it is incredible. Given all of that context, what can they do?
It's difficult to answer that one, really is, without saying get rid of the manager. And I'm not one of them guys, managers are up against it, full stop. If he's responsible for the situation, then you hold your hands up as a manager. But if, I think Mark rattled off 9 players, and as he was saying, the players were getting bigger. They weren't getting, names that you don't know. The players were getting bigger, the names that he was mentioning. And he was finishing off with players like Richarlison, who, he's not everybody's cup of tea, but at least he's got something.
Yeah.
And when he's out there, he makes sure that the centre-halves don't have a free roll. And at the moment, the way Spurs are playing, the centre-halves for Man City and Rodri are having a free roll. They're just getting on with the game without... Don't get me wrong, they're good players. I've watched Gay a couple of times, and he's when a ball comes into a striker, the striker's not going to get a free roll, but he will have a battle up against the striker. For me, I still say if you've got big enough lads up front, play to them, play to their strengths. And if their strength's movement, play it behind. If their strength's up into them, play it up there and get somebody around them to get the second ball and play from there. City, they haven't really been tested. They haven't really been asked the question today, and I'm just wondering how they're going to ask that question. If Thomas Frank's in there now, why not? Why not play the way the fans want to play? Stop playing from the back and hit the front man and see what happens in the second half, because the third goal, if it's City's, it'll be a rout. If the third goal's Tottenham's and it goes 2-1, they might get something from the game. At the moment, I can't see how they're going to get anything from this game if they carry on the way they're playing.
Well, let's get back to talking about City then. I've got a few tweets to put to you here. T says Semenyo has taken over the goal-scoring burden from Haaland at City. That's something that's been talked about plenty of times before, isn't it? That, if Haaland's been injured, there's a problem.
Stacey, before you go on, I looked at Haaland when Semenyo scored, and his celebration was like he scored. He's on side with it, It doesn't matter. He wants to score goals, of course he does. But if the team's winning, it used to be all about him. scoring the goals. Now he's not bothered. He's got somebody to help him, and it takes a little bit of the burden off him. It takes an edge off his game to a certain extent, because I think he wants to be that focal point. But he celebrated like he had scored when Semenyo put the ball in the back of the net, because he knew the second goal was important, and he had the best chance, by the way. He was through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he lobbed the goalkeeper, and it went over the crossbar. For me, I would expect him to put that away, and that would have been 3. But where City's concerned, I don't think they even have to get out of second gear, and they'll win this game comfortably.
Another mention for Semenyo here from Haig, who says Semenyo has hit the ground running for us. What a player. Another game, another goal. Great assist by Bernardo too. He reacted quickly there. Ed says, how on earth did we get Cherky for 30 million? And Zar says, Gaya makes me feel safe defensively. So you can see just from that collection of tweets there, lots of fans happy with plenty of different players for different reasons.
Semenyo are hitting the ground running. Cherky 30 million, unbelievable business. Gay at the back, top draw. So defensively, you've got something to work with. You can build even when games are tight, and there's not going to be many games that are tight. But the signings that City have made are just, because you look at last season, you think, how can they improve on that? The season before, how can they improve on that? And they are. They're buying better players. It's unbelievable.
And they've had an impact straight away, haven't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. And there must be an environment that he's created an environment. First and foremost, it's a winning environment, but it's an environment where players can come in and express themselves. And that's exactly what the new signings have been doing.
They certainly are, and it's a great effect as well. Thank you very much, Phil. Phil and Mark will be back with you for the second half commentary on the way of Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester City. Right, let's get you up to date with all the scores then. In the Premier League, it finished Manchester United 3, Fulham 2. Dramatic finish to that one again. Aston Villa were beaten 1-0 by Brentford. It was 1-1 between Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace, and of course Spurs and City underway with the Blues ahead 2-0. Second half commentary on the way. In the WSL, Manchester City beat Chelsea 5-1. A huge clash puts them in a great position at the top of the WSL. Manchester United beat Liverpool 3-1. Brighton were beaten 2-1 by London City Lionesses. Everton beat Aston Villa 2-1, and it was West Ham 1, Tottenham 2. In the Rugby League Championship, it was London Broncos 25, Oldham 8, Rochdale Hornets 20, Workington Town 14, Swinton Lions 24, and Goole Vikings 28.
Blades slicing through ice at an electrifying pace. Skis flying further than ever before. Curling stones sliding with breathtaking precision. Making history, breaking records, and taking home gold. Trails will blaze. The Winter Olympics starts next Friday, live across the BBC.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Spurs 0, City 2. Second half commentary to come here on BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds. And reminder, we'll be covering all the transfer deadline day news and moves from 6 p.m. tomorrow. Former Blues midfielder Paul Lake and ex-United defender Wes Brown will be joining Gaz and Emily. You can watch it live. You just need to search Transfer Deadline Day on BBC iPlayer, or you can listen live on your smart speaker. Just say play BBC Radio Manchester. So we're on for a hat-trick of wins for our sides this afternoon. What a finish at Old Trafford earlier, where Benjamin Sesko scored a 94th minute winner to beat Fulham 3-2. The Reds led 2-0 before Fulham fought back with 2 late goals. Sesko popped up with the winner as United wound the clock back. It's also 3 straight wins under Michael Carrick.
There was a lot went on today in the game. I think going into the game I was well aware of what a good team Fulham are, and I was getting things thrown at me and questions about teams coming and sitting back and here and having to break teams down, and it was never going to be a game like that today. They're a good team, and the way they play, and I thought we were going to have to answer a lot of questions, and I thought we did that for a lot of it. Boys put in a big effort and really desperate to win the game today, to go up, to come back similar to last week and be pegged back, to then go again. It was so delighted for Ben, he's to come on and have a moment like that. It's it's a huge moment for us all, but for Benji getting that goal in front of the Stretford end, there's not many better places, if there's not a better place for me, to win a game of football like that. So big moment for everyone. This is the way the subs celebrated, the staff, the supporters, they're the special ones.
You had a chance to make it 3-0. That would have looked like a comfortable afternoon. How do you assess the fact that when he did get the goal, it was in the fashion at the time that he did?
Yeah, well, that's life as a striker. Not that I know too much about it, but you know, you've got to be in there to take the chances. Sometimes you miss the chances, but he's done a lot of really good work the last couple of weeks, and the coaches have done a lot of work and worked with them different ways, and especially Trav. And that's what you get your rewards, and it was such a big moment for Ben coming on and having the character to miss one and then to score one that probably mattered even more and would have a bigger emotion to it. He kept calm and it was a fantastic finish, and he'll remember that moment for quite some time.
We can hear more from Michael Carrick right now on the Manchester United page on BBC Sounds. Just make sure you subscribe so you can also get a brand new Devil's Advocate podcast tomorrow. Now, it was also a thrilling day at the Etihad Stadium in the WSL title race. Manchester City thumped holders Chelsea 5-1 in a scintillating display, and who saw that coming? Well, as the Blues moved 11 points clear at the top, Brazilian international Caroline scored a superb hat-trick.
It's hard to describe how it feels. I think at the moment the team is just enjoying. We know what we want, and we just like going to. And you know, like at the end of the day, just like keep doing what we're doing, being like working hard and making hard, because that's the end is our house. So we just need to make sure we do our job.
I love the fact you want to talk about the team, but this moment is all about you and that hat-trick. Did we see the best of you today? You look like you loved every minute of it.
I mean, it's hard to talk about myself, but at the moment I think I'm just enjoying the moment with the team. Again, the team, like, without the team I can't do anything. So I think if we're in this position right now, it's because of the team. I'm really happy to help. It's very nice to score a hat-trick against Chelsea. But, you know, now it's in the past, actually, that we need to keep going and then just look forward.
Do you have a favourite goal from this afternoon? There are enough of them.
I know. The little flick one was my favourite.
Look, I know you're a long way from home. Have you got family here today? Have you got family watching back home?
Yeah, they are watching back home, and you know, I think they are really proud. And everything I do in the back of the field also, it's because of them. They support me a lot, so thank family. And yeah, just enjoy it and be happy.
Yeah, great to have that support. And that little flick goal she described, it was a little flick, but after a 50-yard run, it was pretty incredible. Have a look at that if you do get a chance. That was Caroline there with the BBC's Joe Curry following her hat-trick, helping Manchester City get one hand on that WSL title with a brilliant 5-1 win over Chelsea. The London side fall to third, 12 points adrift. Manchester United now second after they beat Liverpool 3-1. Right, we are going to head back to the Spurs stadium now. It's Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester City. Can Spurs turn it around as the Blues leading 2-0 at the halfway stage? We're in the company of Phil Brown and Mark Crossley.
Stacey, thank you. Yeah, the two teams are back out there. Not every single supporter, though, is back in their seats because the mood here is pretty bleak from a Tottenham perspective, but it's been a really good first half for Manchester City. And Phil Brown, we've just been speculating about how many substitutions Thomas Frank might make at half-time. Well, he's made one as Nico O'Reilly... has he won Manchester City a corner then? No,
yes.
I think it's a goal kick it's been given. Ooh. Oh, it is a corner. Yeah, it is a corner to Manchester City in the early stages of this second half. So it's Pape Sarr who's come on for Christian Romero, and it looks to me like Spurs have gone to a back four. Got to do something different, and he has done, but not only has he took Romero off, who's captain at the moment. I mean, it's a big, bold statement by the manager. If there's nothing wrong with him, it's a big, bold statement. Corner to City. Cherky takes it towards the far post. Gay's header back across goal. Spurs managed to get a head on it and flick it away. It comes out to the edge of the penalty area. Bernardo Silva there with a late challenge on Seamans, and it will be a free kick to the home side. So let me give you the Manchester City team. If you're just joining us, Donnarumma's the goalkeeper. It's Matthias Kuchanov, Gay and Ait Nouri the back four. Rodri's holding in midfield with Bernardo and Nico O'Reilly in there again as they were in midweek. It's Semenyo and Cherky out wide, and Erling Haaland is up top. Goals so far from Cherky and Semenyo have got City into this 2-0 lead. Here's Solanke scrapping for it with Kushinov on the halfway line. Both players have ended up on the ground.
It was a naughty one, that. Not a naughty challenge, it was a nasty one, I should say. You know, it looked like they come together, and both of them, I think they clashed their knees. Solanke probably come off the worst, I think. But it's a ball into the striker, and I'm just looking at it. It's a ball from a centre-half. Didn't really play it with any kind of courage or conviction, but he's put it into the striker, and there was two of them together, and that for me is probably the way to play forward. The pair of them look like they've got a partnership together, Solanke and Colin Nuani. It looks like they're off each other's shoulders, but they don't get hit often enough, and service to the front man is going to be vital towards any kind of quality.
Just trying to work out here if it is a back four or not. I think it is for Tottenham as the ball's played forward. There's a foul there on Kushinov again. Solanke this time. I think second time in a matter of moments he's been involved, and that's why he's got a yellow card. There you go. Not a good start to the second half for Tottenham. Vicario's their goalkeeper, so back four then of Gray, Paulinho, Dragusin and Udogie. It's Gallagher, Basuma and now Sarr in midfield, with Colomawani and Siemens either side of Dominic Solanke up front, who I know he wants to get himself about, but he's probably got himself about a bit too much there in the opening 2 minutes of the second half.
He had his eye on the ball, and again, I'm going back to the noticeable thing, what I was saying to Stacey at our time. They're going to make a change. He's took one of the three centre-halves off, and he's a big player, Romero. There's no doubt about it. But he could be the problem. And if he is the problem, he's took him out of the field of play, so he's no longer the problem. But now they're hitting the front man. They've hit the front man 3 times already in the first 3 minutes of the second half. Maybe it's a sign that they're going to do something different. And why not? If nothing worked in the first half, why not try something different in the second?
It's a little bit cooler now than it was at kick-off. Ryan Aitnori swapped his short sleeve shirt for a long sleeve shirt. Myself and Phil Brown have got the gloves on now. Here's Nico O'Reilly, tries to thread a ball into Haaland in the penalty area, just behind him though, and Udogie should be able to bring it clear for Spurs. City are all in black here in North London this afternoon. They're shooting from right to left as we look, so they're now attacking the end of the ground, which is housing the few thousand travelling supporters who've made the journey down from Manchester on the first day of February. And well, Spurs, I would say, have packed out the rest of the ground, but the truth is that there's still some empty seats, particularly on the far side in the lower tier as we look on. I don't know if that supporter's just deciding to stand on the concourses and have a drink, or maybe they've seen enough. Here come Tottenham down the left-hand side. Udogie going up against Matthias. The home fans get behind him as he tries to whip the cross, and he does, towards the penalty area. He comes out to Gallagher, and it was O'Reilly, not with the best clearance, to be honest. He just knocked it out to Conor Gallagher, who ran onto it, the edge of the D, chasing his first Tottenham goal. It bounced up, and he just got the strike all wrong.
Mark, it's half a chance. That is half a chance. Udogie gets to the byline and thinks about putting a ball in early. He didn't. He got to the byline with his pace, and he whipped the ball across, and it was just behind the back four of Manchester City. But the ball was cleared, as you say. It wasn't a great clearance by O'Reilly. Fell straight to Gallagher, and he just got to compose himself, and he's rushed it, you know, and that's a sign of what this club's all about at the moment. They don't seem as if they're settled in what they do, and he rushed it and he skied it over the crossbar.
Yeah, he's got more of an eye for goal perhaps than he's given credit for sometimes. Conor Gallagher scored a few times this season for Atletico Madrid before making the move here in January, but he just didn't get that connection right, and it just ballooned up and over Donnarumma's crossbar. Spurs with a couple of promising signs though in the first 5 minutes of this second half.
I think this is what get the Spurs fans off their seats, you know, and start booing and this, that, the other when there's nothing in the game. There's something in the game now. Obviously it's 2-0 to Manchester City, but when they play the ball backwards to the goalkeeper.
Here come Spurs with Gray down the right-hand side, crosses it in towards Colomawani, headed away by Kushinov, comes out to the edge of the penalty area. Siemens is in there scrapping, ball rolls to Udogie, who shoots left-footed. Brilliant save from Gianluigi Donnarumma, up to his right, gets congratulated by Rodri and Kushinov. That was an outstanding stop from the big Italian.
Great save, but look at the stadium all of a sudden. Everybody's off their seats, and they came back for the second half, because I think they're going to give them 10-15 minutes. In my word, the first 5 minutes of the second half, it's not one-way traffic by any stretch of the imagination, but they've had a couple of chances, and Donnarumma was called upon there, and he pulled off a great save, calling it to Tottenham.
Yeah, that's why he is the best goalkeeper in the world. That was an outstanding stop from Donnarumma. Udogie really put his laces through it. Powerful strike, pushed it over the crossbar. Corner that Siemens will take from the Spurs left towards the far post. Dragusin's header back across the face of goal, and it was cut out by O'Reilly, and Dragusin will just let it run out for a Tottenham throw-in, level the edge of the City penalty area.
Bernardo Silva marking Dragusin, by the way. It was unbelievable. He was standing on the goalkeeper and he just peeled off to the back post, and Bernardo Silva was looking for him. He couldn't get anywhere near him. It was a purposeful ball driven to the back post, but he's going to take a long throw and keep the pressure on City.
He is. Here comes the Romanian with a long throw, and it goes into the City penalty area. Haaland's in his own 6-yard box, flicks it up into the air, doesn't get it away. Paulinho shot. It hit Kushanov. I thought for a second it might have hit a hand, but no real complaints from Tottenham. And now it's Dragusin knocks it into the air again. That one's headed away by Rodri. But you have to say, fair play to Spurs. A good start to the second half. And it was much needed.
Much needed. Just a little bit of a spark. Hitting the front man early is not the end of the world. And that's what they've done. And now they're playing in City's half. City have just got to make sure that...
Oh, that's a nice ball. Here's Solanke into the penalty area. Is he offside? Solanke onto his right foot. It's in. No flag. Spurs are back in it. We said they started the second half well. Dominic Solanke made the run in behind the Manchester City defence, cut it back onto his right foot. Donnarumma came out, scrappy finish, but for now, Spurs are back in this game. VAR will check it, but it's Tottenham 1, City 2.
It looks like a VAR check. I think the referee's still waiting about it. There's a City player down on the deck. It's a coming together of the bodies, but there was nothing wrong. It looked like he was... Oh, he's offside, or is it? It's very, very close. His arm and his shoulder might be offside. Might just save City, because I tell you what, there's a change in the whole temperature of this stadium. It's very, very pro Spurs at the moment.
Well, just having seen that replay for the first time, I think that is offside, and I think that the Tottenham supporters are not going to like what they're about to hear. And we're just looking at the finish. Actually, it was Solanke put it back onto his right foot, and the challenge came in from Mark Gay, and Solanke almost clipped Gay as he put it in the net. So I don't know if City were complaining about a foul potentially. They are definitely checking for the offside, and I know the replay, the angle we looked at, Phil Brown, wasn't directly in line, but it did look to me like he was beyond the last defender.
If anybody was keeping him on, it was Ait Nouri, the left back. If anybody was keeping him on, because we haven't got...
It's been given. The goal's been given. There you go. Shows what we know.
And I would give that to Solanke, by the way, because I think he's put his boot through the ball, but he's put his boot through Mark Gay's left foot as well.
Yeah, he has. Right, there you go. Goal given.
Game on.
Game on. Solanke has Spurs back in it, and Tottenham have the goal they needed to lift the atmosphere in this stadium, and you can hear it coming through your radio right now if you're with us on BBC Radio Manchester, or you're listening anywhere in the UK via BBC Sounds, which you can do today. Take our commentary with you, whatever you're up to this late Sunday afternoon. We've got a game on our hands with 35 minutes to go in the Premier League. Spurs 1, Manchester City 2. And it was one real ball in behind, wasn't it, Phil Brown, that caught City out?
For the first five minutes of the half, it's been ball into the striker, ball in behind. They're a different team, and I'm not telling you it's because it's just Romero's been removed, but they have changed the system. They've took off a big player for them, but mainly it's set pieces, isn't he? So I'm not saying he's totally responsible. There's no doubt in my mind that he is a big player. There's no doubt about it. But when he's been removed from the pitch, all of a sudden they're playing in a different way. So that's a telltale sign that he doesn't want to play this way.
We've talked about the fact that it could have been offside. What about the fact that it potentially could have been a foul? Because he shifted it onto his right foot. Mark Gay got his leg in the way, and he did appear to take Gay's leg with him as the ball almost trickled over the line past Donnarumma.
There's a possibility there. I would give you it, but you know, when you get a coming together of bodies in a situation like that, you've just got to get a bit of if you're a striker, you want a bit of momentum with the ball, and that's all he's done. He's put his boot through the ball.
Well, here's another runner into the penalty area. Colin Mawani again. I think it will go down as a Mark Gay own goal, because the final touch was off him. Uzadogi with a cross. City need to be careful here. Into the penalty area it goes. In fact, it drifts over everyone. It'll be kept in by Archie Gray on the right hand side. He's now challenged by Ryan Ait Nouri. It's out for a Spurs throw, and this place is entirely different to how it was about half an hour ago.
Totally different. All of a sudden you're looking at long throws coming into the penalty box. You know, Dragusin's come from the left hand side of the back four. He's come right the way across the pitch, and this is obviously going to be the game plan second half. Put Man City under as much pressure as you can. Look where Erling Haaland is. He's in his own 6-yard box now, and he's doing a job that he doesn't really want to do.
Just seeing another replay on the big screen. He definitely kicks through Mark Gay's leg, does Solanke, but the goal has been given. Long throw from Dragusin. City lead 2-1. Into the penalty area it goes. Headed away by Aït-Nouri at the near post. Semenyo knocks it on. Back it comes out to Dragusin. On the right now for Tottenham. Now Gallagher tries to thread it through to Bissouma. Rodri does well to scoop it away. And now it's Cherki, and suddenly City are on the break. Black shirts thrusting forward. Here's Bernardo. Semenyo with him. Haaland's on the far side. Bernardo's going to aim towards Erling Haaland, and it's Simons back there. Does well, really well, the Dutch international, but he's just overrun it, and now Rodri can poke it forward to Haaland. Now it's Cherki, angle of the penalty area. Cherki shoots left-footed, takes a deflection, and it's Gray for Spurs who manages to nudge it away. It comes now out to Colin Mawani, who's scrapping with O'Reilly and Matthias, and the decision there, not sure about that, has gone against Manchester City. Free kick Spurs.
The referee can get swayed as well, I'm telling you. The referee can get swayed by the home crowd. Now, Kolo Muwani's just gone. I think it's been a 50-50 myself. There was nothing wrong with the challenge, in my opinion. But the referee's now being swayed towards the Tottenham side. And somebody's getting booked from the touchline. Is it Semenyo?
Is that Pep Guardiola or is that Semenyo? I think it might be Guardiola again. I said that.
It looks that way.
I said that he was booked at Forest by this referee a few weeks ago. And it looks like the City boss, who remember served a touchline suspension against Exeter in the FA Cup recently, has got another yellow card, and no real reaction from the Manchester City manager.
This just sums up what Tottenham are all about. They've just got a little bit of joy hitting the front man. What do? They get a free kick 25 yards outside the penalty box. It ends up back with their goalkeeper. It's poor thing. It's a poor thought process. It's not poor play, it's just a poor thought process. Hit the front man.
That is the voice of the former Hull City manager Phil Brown, former Bolton assistant boss, with us for commentary alongside myself, Mark Crossley, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And since Thomas Frank switched things up and has gone to the back four, Spurs look a much better outfit. Long it goes from Paulinho towards Colin Mawani. Gay wins the header for City. It's gone down as his own goal, which has got Spurs back into this game. City leading by 2-1. 13 minutes into the second half. There's a free kick now that's been awarded to Manchester City just in front of the technical area, and it's Thomas Frank this time who's the unhappy manager. He's in the ear of Andy Madley, the fourth official, and City have taken the free kick with Aït-Nouri finding Rodri. They just need to calm things down if they can, Phil.
To a certain extent, yes. I think they play high tempo when they've got the ball, but it's very difficult for a Man City team who are used to winning to be worried about this situation. Most teams would be, don't get me wrong. You're 2-0 up, the third goal makes it a big game, doesn't it? 3-0, game over where City's concerned. 2-1, game on. But City know that they're a better team, and they just stay in the game. They just wait for the opportunity, and when the opportunity comes along, they normally bury the game.
Well, it's going to be interesting to hear what Pep Guardiola made of that Spurs goal, and whether he thinks it should have been a free kick to his team. Perhaps that's what he was expressing to the fourth official, perhaps a bit too vigorously, which is why the City manager is in the book. He's out there in his black hoodie on the touchline, hands in pockets at the edge of his technical area. We're high in the top tier here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Very high, Mark, very high.
Beautiful view.
It's normally a sign, you know, when a manager gets booked and you're 2-0 up at half-time, they've got nothing to worry about, have you? But when it goes 2-1, it's normally a sign that there's a little bit of tension down there. And he'll know what Thomas Frank's all about. He'll want to fight to the end, for sure, because that's what managers do.
City need to get this man back on the ball, Ryan Cherki, and they do, and he's been fouled by Conor Gallagher, who I think was worried for a second there he was going to be booked by the referee, who is going to have a word with him, but there's going to be no card. In fact, the biggest cheer until that Solanke goal was for Jan Vertonghen, the ex-Spurs defender who appeared on the pitch at half-time here to do an interview.
I was just saying, how they could use him now. What a player he was for Spurs.
Here's Simons, early run from Colin Mawani, doesn't release him, does the Dutchman. Instead it goes to Conor Gallagher. Xavi Simons been the sort of real outstanding Spurs attacking threat in this game, particularly in the first half, but Solanke has made himself a handful in the second, booked at the start of the second half, and then his shot that, well, came off Gay's leg, whether it was a foul or not sure, ended up in the back of the net. Now Solanke's down on the turf. In fact, you had a pretty close-up view of that turf, didn't you, earlier, Phil?
Very much so. What a beautiful surface, by the way. You talk about green bays. I like my snooker, but this is absolutely, it's better than the snooker table. I'm just thinking about Solanke, and I'm telling you, if you speak to him after the game, if you spoke to him and just say, what was the second half like compared to the first, he'd tell you, frankly, we hit the front man in the second half, therefore my job's easier.
We played an hour Semenyo has it for Manchester City. Sliding challenge from Gray. Semenyo's come away with it though. Into the penalty area he goes. And now it's Antoine Semenyo who attempts the cross. And it comes off Sarr and it will be out for a Manchester City corner.
Good play, good play. Whenever your wing players or your strikers get the ball, you want them to face up to a defender and ask him a question. And that's what Semenyo does with his pace and his trickery and his goal-scoring prowess. What a start. And he's carried again in the second half. He's carried on with it.
Those Manchester City fans on the far side find their voice again for the first time in this second half. City lead 2-1 on Total Sport. And they'll be 4 points behind Arsenal again as things stand. But Spurs have done well in the first 15 minutes of this second half. Corner comes into the box from Cherki. It was Mark Gay, actually, who had a run on his man, sort of slipped, and his header just drifted wide of Vicario's left-hand post. So I'll just let you in on a little secret here. So when we get to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, we're up, I think, on the 5th level, so you have to get a lift to get up here. So I came up here to do the team news earlier, and I text Phil, I said, let me know when you're here, and he replied to me and said, I'm stood by the corner flag. I was like, how have you got down there?
They thought I was on the TV. It's obviously me good looks, you know.
That'll be it, yeah. Rodri wins the header for City. Here's Dragusin just inside the Spurs half, and Doggy has it.
Mark, as you were talking here, there was a goal kick to Spurs, and Vicario has just gone everybody up to the halfway line. And I tell you what, it wasn't a great cheer, it wasn't a big cheer, but there was a positive feel about the stadium, as if it wasn't a sarcastic one. They're hitting the front man, that's all I'm saying.
They are. They've tried to do it again there. Gray trying to find Solanke up against Kushyanov, but Kushyanov does well that time. Now it's Bernardo Silva for City, who dinks it backwards, and now Gay will find Ryan Aït-Nouri just in front of Thomas Frank, who stood on the edge of his technical area. Now the Algerian can really run forward at that Spurs back line, plenty of space ahead of him. Strong challenge comes in from Paulinho, who wins it. Ryan Aït-Nouri's hitting the ground, he's still down on the deck, but here comes Spurs on the counter-attack into the penalty area. Chance for Colin Mawani, who goes down. No real danger of a penalty there, although he's ended up hitting the advertising hoardings. He's picked back up by Matthias. In fact, a corner's been given there.
It wasn't a corner. For me, it was good defending. It was good defending, but you know, when you see somebody splatter into the hoardings, as it were, we've still got an injury at the top end.
Oh, actually, I think
Aït-Nouri.
Yeah, it did bounce back off Matthias. Just having seen the replay, it was very hard to see from where we're sat, but it is going to be a corner. But Ryan Aït-Nouri, who's had injury problems since his arrival from Wolves in the summer, is down. The only City player in the Spurs half at the moment. Destiny Udogie and Vicario just stood over him. Every other City player back in their own penalty area, and the referee Rob Jones is still not allowed the physios to come onto the field. I think Nico Gonzalez might be being summoned to the bench, and the bib has been whipped off just in case he needs to come on. But now Ryan Aït-Nouri is back on his feet. He's limping quite heavily, and he'll now have to jog backwards and try and get himself back into his own penalty area. It's a corner to Tottenham.
He's going all the way back because he's got to go back. He's a defender. He's got to pick somebody up in this situation, and he's still limping, but he's made his way the full length of the pitch basically, and he's going into a really good area, the 6-yard box in the front hole. He's got to be ready for this.
Yeah, real physical test, this mental test for Manchester City as well, under a little bit of pressure in this second half. They lead 2-1 here away at Spurs. Premier League football live on BBC Radio Manchester's Total Sport. Corner that Siemens takes into the City 6-yard box. Dragusin was up there, headed away, comes back out to Udogie, who rolls it back out to Siemens on the left hand side. Bernardo's over there, tries to close him down, whips it in right footed. Semenyo's up, tries to head it away, can only get it out to the edge of the penalty area though, and Kolo Muani with 39 on his back dances infield, and then he's clipped Cherki. It's a really stupid foul from Kolo Muani, and he's picked up the ball, but that was a moment of stupidity really, and City get the free kick.
Just completely took the pressure off Man City there. If he stays on his feet and works what was a good situation, and he's working, he give a stupid free kick away, and the whole emphasis goes back to Manchester City. It's poor play from the Spurs player.
Mark Gay takes the free kick, chips it out to Matthias, and City have given it away again, and here's Siemens, dances around Matthias, and it goes to Solanke, attempts the return pass, but he's ended up on the ground. Siemens, he thinks he was pushed, and he thinks that he should have had a free kick. The Spurs fans, 60,000 of them agree. Rob Jones, all in blue, the referee isn't having it, and again Spurs come forward. Gallagher into Kolo Muani. Gay tries to block him off. Brilliant. And he does well, really good. And look at that from Donnarumma. He gives a massive fist pump, slides to congratulate Mark Gay.
Top draw defending and top draw goalkeeping as well. knows that his centre-halves bailed him out from a 1v1 situation, but Gay was absolutely superb there.
Ryan Aït-Nouri's in the walls again. He's ended up on the floor. Strong challenge on him by Sarr.
Referee's turn, Mark. I'm telling you, the referee's turn. It's very advantageous towards Spurs at the moment.
Yeah, they're coming forward on the left-hand side. A doggy's on the overlap. If Seamans can use him, in he goes. He'll clip it in towards Solanke in the 6-yard box. We tried to dart in between Kushyanov and Gay, but Donnarumma was there to scoop it out of the air for City. Bernardo plays it forward to Haaland. Early ball from Erling Haaland, releases Antoine Semenyo, and here come Manchester City on the counter-attack, chasing that third goal. Semenyo down the line, Paulinho stands up to him, and the ball bounces off Semenyo and out for a goal kick. Strong challenge, and the Spurs fans love a bit of that.
My word, in the first half that was either a cross or a shot coming in. Spurs look like they're on the up at the moment. City's they've got a game on their hands at the moment. 66 minutes on the clock. There's still a long way to go.
What will Pep be thinking at this point, Phil?
I would be thinking, do I need a third? Do we need a third goal today? Because, you know, as we've witnessed in the earlier game, Manchester United 2-0 up against Fulham, back to 2-2, and they needed a third in the 95th, 96th minute.
Well, Reinders is definitely going to be coming on for Manchester City, and Spurs are going to make a couple of changes themselves first. So first substitute for Tottenham sees Kolo Muani leave the field. Matthias Tell is on. That's the first Tottenham change. So Tell, the young Frenchman, is on for Spurs as Thomas Frank makes a couple of substitutions.
Change again. I think it's a change of system again.
Wilson Odebear's come on as well. So he's the second player to enter the field for Tottenham. Conor Gallagher's come over to get some instructions on the near side.
Looks like a couple of changes for Man City.
Yeah, Reinders and Nico both going to be coming on, so double change by both teams. What's the thinking here from Pep Guardiola, Phil Brown?
It's coming to that stage of the game, like I've just said. You know, are we carrying Cherki? And it looks like Cherki's going to be one of the ones that's coming off. He got a couple of knocks early on, didn't he? And he looked like at half-time, I didn't know if he was going to come back out again. He might have thought he'd done his job. You know, at 2-0, you're probably thinking that way, especially having scored one. But the bottom line is, you know, you need players like Cherki on the field of play because he can take the game into the opposition's half and keep the ball in the final third. They're losing him. Doesn't mean to say they're bringing anything worse on, but they're losing him at the moment. Reinders is a different kind of player.
Yeah, so it's going to be Ryan Aït-Nouri and Ryan Cherki, the two players that are going off for Manchester City, I think. Although, are we waiting confirmation now? It is going to be Aït-Nouri. It is, because he's walking across to the
O'Reilly to the back,
near side. So yeah, Nico O'Reilly to left back. Nico and Reinders will go into that midfield.
That looks more like Man City now. And what I mean by that is, you know, it looks like a lot more like a back four that you'd expect with Rodri just in front of him. Midfield looks quite solid. Still look like they're playing with a two though up front. Still look like playing with Semenyo and Haaland. It's almost like a 4-4-2.
Bissouma was the second Spurs player to go off. So Odebear for Bissouma, Tell for Kolo Muani, and from a City perspective, Reinders is on, Nico is on, Aït-Nouri and Cherki, the man who lit up that first half, are the players that have gone off. Now we're just seeing an announcement on the big screen here on that Spurs goal. The referee's call of goal was checked and confirmed by VAR with a challenge on Solanke, a challenge by Solanke on Gay, deemed not to be a foul as Solanke played the ball. That's why the goal stands. Here comes Spurs chasing that equaliser. Oh, into the penalty area. They've got the equaliser. Conor Gallagher's cross came in. It's an own goal. And Manchester City's 2-goal lead has evaporated in this second half. Rodri was the player in there. Donnarumma couldn't get his big right paw to it, and it's dropped into the bottom corner. Disaster for City in this second half, and the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is alive. Spurs 2, Manchester City 2.
We've seen a massive game, Manchester United against Fulham. This is turning into being a massive game as well. At 2-0 up, City were all over. And Spurs have changed in the second half. They made a couple of substitutions, but what a finish by Solanke. And I know Donnarumma's put it into his own net, but the finish is almost impossible. It's like a reverse flick, and if he's intended that, it's goal of the season. I'm telling you, what a finish when you see that on Match of the Day.
Well, it looked that it was Rodri who got the last touch. Well, actually, Solanke spun, and he almost hit the ball at the same time Rodri's put his boot in. Be really interesting to see if that goal is given to Dominic Solanke. I think it might be on the spin. What a finish. 2-2. What a game we've got here. Here's Reinders for City, edge of the penalty area. The ball was behind Dominic Solanke, who stuck his right boot out, and it's ended up in the back of the City net. And Pep Guardiola won't believe what's happened here in the last 25 minutes. 2-2, 20 minutes to play.
Mark, if it's gifted to Solanke, I'm telling you, it's the goal of the season. It's just unbelievable how he's got his body in that position to get a flick and get it on target, let alone lob over Donnarumma. Now, if it's Rodri, it's Rodri, end of story. But Solanke's done an unbelievable twist on his body to get some kind of finish on, to make it 2-2. Now, to be fair, it has to be said, Spurs deserve to be 2-2. City have got to step up to the plate, and with that championship team that's got the mentality to win the game in the latter stages of the game, because at the moment it looks like they're going to lose this game.
Sloppy from Bernardo Silva, who's given away a throw-in, but brilliant skill and improvisation by Dominic Solanke. I was on air yesterday raving about a goal that Kyle Wootton scored for Stockport yesterday, where he span and almost back-flicked it into the net. This was even better. Rodri's boot went in at exactly the same time Solanke connected with it, but Solanke's been credited with a goal, and here he is again. In fact, he's been credited with that first goal, which I thought had been given to Mark Gay. I think the Premier League have looked at that one as well. So 2 goals in this second half from Dominic Solanke, and somehow, Phil Brown, it's Spurs 2, Manchester City 2. We said at half-time there were boos everywhere.
Yeah.
Spurs fans were leaving. What about this turnaround?
It's a full house now. It's a full house. They might have been waiting in the bars downstairs to see what kind of Spurs comes out the second half. Well, the real Tottenham Hotspurs come out. They've got rid of Romero, who's captain of the club. They've changed the system. They've gone into the striker a little bit earlier, and Solanke looks a different player. Now, he's been credited with 1 or even 2 of the goals. He deserves it, because the movement and the balls into him are better football.
Fed in by Rodri to Reinders. He's given it away though. Here comes Siemens for Spurs. Tell's making the run ahead. Opportunity if he threads it through to this right hand side. Right footed strike comes in, and it's a big save from Odebear that Donnarumma's made with his right boot. And Tottenham are well on top in this game now. Dominic Solanke with 2 goals in this second half, and Manchester City do not want to drop vital points in the title race here. Come on, you Spurs, is ringing round.
Mark, there's an energy about Spurs at the moment that's really, really positive and really good. I mean, look at Thomas Frank on the touchline. He looked like a beaten man at half-time, but now all of a sudden he's animated. Pep Guardiola's the one he's fighting and scrapping and looking for every decision to go his way, and nothing's happening at the moment.
Much more energy about this Spurs team in the second half. And I said earlier, Manchester City dropped points at Sunderland away from home on New Year's Day. They lost at Old Trafford in the derby, and now their 2-goal lead has gone up in smoke here as they chase a first away win in the Premier League in 2026. Pep Guardiola trying to encourage his players on the edge of his technical area, but Spurs come away with it again. Siemens threads it out to Udogie on the left-hand side. 3 Spurs players in the penalty area. Odebear's one of them. Back it comes to Siemens, edge of the area. He shoots right-footed. Brilliant save from Donnarumma, away to his left, high to his left. Big hand on it, out for a corner.
What a save that is, by the way, because it's a great strike. It looks like he's bending in the top corner. It just takes the deflection off Bernardo Silva's head. And I tell you what, you've got to move your feet again. But Donnarumma did exactly that. He took another step, and the size of him, they needed every inch of that 6'6" giant.
Corner to Tottenham. 2-2 with 15 minutes to play in the Premier League. And this is why 2 halves of football are never the same. And it's a corner that Siemens is going to take. In fact, he's going to go short to Odebear. Back it comes to Gallagher, who set up the second goal of his cross. Here he is again, right-footed into the penalty area. Kushinov heads it away. Rodri on the edge of the area tries to come away with it for City, and all O'Reilly can do is prod it out for a Spurs throw-in. And this stadium is rocking right now.
They're alive, they're appealing for things. They're shouting for handball there off Rodri, where the ball came dropping down onto his hand. They're appealing for everything at the moment. They're really on the up. City are up against it.
Ball down the line from Siemens towards Odebear. This time the offside flag has gone up, and it will be a free kick to Manchester City, which Donnarumma is screaming at Mark Gay to take quickly, and he has. Here's Rodri, tries to chip it over the top towards Haaland, who's not had much in terms of service in this second half. Nice little spin from Tell up against Reinders, a substitute. He's now got 2 City players with him. He prods it back to a doggy on the left-hand side. Well, here we are then, 14 minutes to go. And Manchester City, who had a 2-goal lead at half-time, have got work to do here. And Spurs, as it stands, are about to do their big, fierce rivals Arsenal a big favour in the title race.
Amazing, isn't it? Fierce rivals Arsenal a favour in the title race. Manchester United had exactly the same scenario earlier on, and can Man City do exactly what Manchester United did by 2 goals up, 2-2, and win it in the extra time, 3-2. It's exactly what City need to do if they want to keep the title race going.
They do. They need their own Šeško moment today. He got the winner earlier in front of the Stretford end for United against Fulham. City need a winner here, but it's all Spurs at the moment. Odegaard on the right-hand side. Gallagher goes on the overlap. Wilson Odegaard comes in field. Now spreads it out to the edge of the D. Seaman shoots, deflected, hit Rodri. Here's Solanke, he's on a hat-trick. Into the penalty area. Gray's in there. Couldn't quite get the shot away. And Bernardo Silva comes across and he'll just play it out down the line, but it can't reach Semenyo. City are second best here at the minute. Bernardo gets his boot in this time. Now can Nico release Erling Haaland? He can. Long ball up to the big Norwegian. Strong challenge from Dragusin, does well on him. Haaland still releases it towards Semenyo. Spurs have got to get back, got to get numbers back. Haaland's making a late run into the penalty area. Semenyo will try and find him. Low ball fizzed into the 6-yard box. Half cleared, back to Bernardo Silva, stands it up. Oh, there's the header from Reinders. Rodri almost got in his way, and it's flashed wide of Vicario's left-hand post. Big chance for City.
Marky hit the nail on the head. I think Rodri did get in his way. If Reinders had just been there on his own, he would have had full concentration on the contact of the ball, and he's flicked at it thinking that it was somebody else coming. It's a good effort, by the way. Sorry, it's a great crossing, but it's a bad effort from Reinders.
What a chance that was for Tijani Reinders. What a game this is. Highlights of this on Match of the Day, BBC One tonight at 10:30. It's a goal kick to Spurs, and again they are going long.
77 minutes on the clock. You call it, Mark, because I can't. Honestly, City could win this, and so could Spurs.
Vicario launches it towards Solanke, who flicks it on. Rodri picks it up for Manchester City, spreads it out to Nico O'Reilly. You're listening to Total Sport on BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds live from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London, where it's Tottenham 2, Manchester City 2. Mark Crossley and the former Premier League manager Phil Brown are with you in the second half that we did not expect. Phil actually said to me at half-time off air, we saw a turnaround at Old Trafford earlier, can you see it here? I said, no way. Shows what I know. Here's Nico O'Reilly, left-hand side, cross, deflects off Odegaard, hangs up, Haaland goes for the header, just mistimed the jump though, and now a doggy on the far side will lash it clear for Spurs out of play, 2-2.
It was actually good defending. It was a bump on Haaland by the defender, and that for me sometimes goes unnoticed, but it's what Spurs needed to do in the first half. If Romero was on the field of play, that would have been a free header in the 6-yard box.
Bernardo has it for Manchester City, turns it out to Nico O'Reilly. He's now reverted to left back with Ait-Nouri having gone off. So Reinders and Nico both in the middle of the field at the moment. As Gay has it. And now it's Bernardo Silva. Spurs have got everyone back behind the ball now. We've got 11 minutes to go. 2-2. As Bernardo sprays it out to Matthias in front of the travelling fans on the City right. And now it's into Rodri. Square ball to Mark Gay, who steps up for Manchester City. And now Nico O'Reilly has it on the left-hand side. Probably the best bit of possession that City have had in quite a while in this game. Rodri, middle of the field, tries a little dink towards Matthias, who makes the run. A doggy read it though and heads it away. And now a chance for Tottenham through Tell and Seamans to come forward. Spurs fans want them to get it in towards Solanke. And why wouldn't you after what he's just done? And there's the ball towards him. This time Mark Gay is across there to read it, and he'll tidy it up and knock it back to Donnarumma in the City goal.
It's crazy, isn't it? You play horses for courses. You know, you try to play to people's strengths. I've always thought Solanke's strength was hit him, and it's something that he's come to Spurs. Okay, where he played at beforehand at Bournemouth, was he getting that kind of service? Absolutely, that's the reason why he came to Spurs. But then they changed to a Spurs way of playing, and it doesn't suit Solanke. I just don't get that part.
Here's O'Reilly. First time pass into Semenyo, who shifts it onto his left foot, and now he'll try and run at Archie Gray. Back it goes to Nico Gonzalez, and now Bernardo for City, who need to find a moment here in the final 10 minutes. Free kick given for handball against Gallagher. Ball played at him from quite close range by Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, I was going to say it's harsh. It's harsh. If that had been in the box, would it have been a penalty? I doubt it very much.
Phil Foden's being called back to the Manchester City touchline. He runs down as quick as he can and he'll rip that yellow bib off. Phil Foden's going to be released, and he could do with a goal. He's not scored or assisted in his last 11 Premier League games.
Wow, that's a drought.
But the last time he did it, I was sat alongside you at Selhurst Park. So it was in London that he scored last. Maybe Foden's going to have a big say between now and the end of this match. City free kick halfway inside the Spurs half, and Spurs have got 6 or 7 plays lined up across the edge of their own penalty area. It's exactly the same drill we saw them rehearsing pre-match. Bernardo whips this in. Oh, into the box, chance for Mark Gay for City. Tries to shot, it's a massive scramble. Ball still not cleared. It loops up and it lands on top of the net. Who did it come off last? It came off a Spurs boot last. Vicario's got his arms around Erling Haaland. That was old school.
They're screaming at a penalty decision here. Erling Haaland's asking for it. He said there's a handball, and it's because he puts his hand on the ball on the ground, but he can't do anything about that. Nothing at all. But that was old-fashioned, proper scrap in the 6-yard box.
Yeah, Haaland, he tried a little scoop, didn't he, at the end, with so many players on the deck. Haaland tried a little scoop from 6 yards out that deflected up and over. Corner to Manchester City. Good response from City in the last few minutes. And now it's going to be Reinders who will take this from the left-hand side. O'Reilly and Kushanoff scrapping with a couple of Spurs bodies, and Haaland inside that 6-yard box. 7.5 minutes to go. 2-2. Haaland pushes a doggy into the goal. Corner now will be taken. Haaland still scrapping with him. Headed away by Dragusin. Comes out to Bernardo. The Spurs fans are happy. The danger has gone temporarily. 2 goals from Dominic Solanke in this second half, both of which could have been credited as own goals, has got Spurs level. Brilliant finish for the second. Scooped it up over Donnarumma when the ball was behind him. Nico clips it out to Bernardo, who takes it on the chest near the corner flag. Down the City right, back it goes to Kushanoff, and now it's Matthias in more of a central position. And he'll find Nico. Guardiola stands, hands in pockets, watching on. Thomas Frank is crouched, pointing, shouting instructions to his team. A real fillip for him. The Spurs can come away from this game with something, given this poor run they're on and the pressure he's under. They've fought back against the title contenders as a breeze comes into the stadium here. Nico tries a little clip ball towards Erling Haaland, who gets up, heads it down. Reinders is in there. Diving header from Tajani Reinders. Tried to squeeze it in at Vicario's near post, just wide into the side netting. Great chance.
And again, nothing wrong with hitting the striker, and he's put a ball in. I think it's I thought it was it was Haaland with the ball to the back post. Haaland rose up and headed it down towards Reinders, who's an attacking midfield player, and he's just caught it on the half volley on his head. Just missed the goal by about 6 inches.
All the fallout from this game on Total Sport tomorrow, and it's a deadline day special as well. All the news and moves from 6 o'clock for all our local teams. Paul Lake, former City midfielder, and ex-United defender Wes Brown joining Gaz and Emily. Transfer deadline day. You can watch it live on the BBC iPlayer, or you can listen live on your smart speaker. Search BBC Radio Manchester. Reaction later on BBC Sounds on our Manchester City feed after this game from Pep Guardiola and one of the players as well, I'm sure. And of course we'll get lots more from Phil Brown between now and 7 o'clock. Your chance to speak to Phil when this game is over. Lines are open now. 0800 218 2255. Long ball forward to Solanke. Good challenge from Nico, and Gay will turn it back to Donnarumma, who's under a bit of pressure from Matthias Tell, is Gigi Donnarumma. And Spurs putting the press on. He works it out to Matthias. He'll do well to get past Siemens. He can't. Great challenge from Siemens. Now into the penalty area for Spurs. Fires it across the 6-yard box. Mark Gay was in there with Odebear. And very nearly it was 3-2. Donnarumma relieved to put his hands on the ball in the end.
The difference between Spurs' first half and second half is absolute chalk and cheese. It's unbelievable. They're putting a full press on, and the City players at the back, who had loads of time in the first half, have got no time whatsoever, and they're getting robbed.
Phil Foden is waiting to come on still. 5 minutes to go. 2-2. Here's Nico for Manchester City. Now it's Rodri. Haaland ahead of him. Turns back and plays it out to Bernardo Silva. Thinks about the angled ball towards Haaland on the far post. And it goes to Nico. And now Bernardo will wind up the cross. It deflects off Gallagher. and just bounces into the air. Tell's back in his right back position. The substitute for Tottenham puts his foot on the ball and rolls it backwards, trying to prevent Nico O'Reilly getting to it, but O'Reilly's nicked it back off him. Now Semenyo, to Nico. It's a really poor ball from Nico, and Paulinho, to be fair, has not done much better with it. He's just booted it away, and Kushanov can get City going again.
Who's he bringing off for Phil Foden? Can it be Semenyo?
Feel like it might be.
If it is, he's taking a goal scorer off who's in current form. You would say 4 and 5, and you're putting a goal scorer on who hasn't scored for 11 games, is what you just said.
Maybe it's Bernardo Silva. Maybe it's another attacking player that's going to be loaded on by Pep Guardiola. Mark Gay's cross, brilliant ball to the back post. And I think it was Bernardo or Matthias who managed to hook it across the 6-yard box. City couldn't get on the end of it though. Spurs haven't cleared it. Haaland scrapping with it. And Spurs nearly get away. Vital interception there by Rodri. Or 2 Spurs players would have been clear. Excellent work from the Spanish midfielder. And now Mark Gay has it back. Ball still not gone out of play. So Foden still waits. Here's Nico O'Reilly, who is now at left back, but he's moved into a central position. Now it's Rodri out to Bernardo. We'll try and scoop this cross in. Here it goes towards the far post, flicked up by Paulinho with Haaland lurking, and then a diving header in there by Conor Gallagher. It's out for a Manchester City corner, 2-2.
There's another example again. Spurs putting their body on the line. You know, there's 2 or 3 centre-halves there heading the ball, and they're heading the second one when it goes up in the air. There's no free headers in the penalty box when Romero's on the field of play. There's free headers every day.
Well, I said it could be Bernardo going off. It is Bernardo going off. So Phil Foden is on another attacking option for Manchester City. Haaland's on the pitch, so too is Semenyo, so too is Phil Foden now. And Manchester City have a corner that Reinders will take. 2.5 minutes to go, and a big 2.5 minutes plus stoppage time in the Premier League title race. City at the moment are going to slip 6 points behind Arsenal, unless, here's Reinders, right-footed in-swinger, in it goes. Gay was up there with a header. Spurs still haven't cleared it. I think that'll be another corner. No, it's come off a City player last. Haaland throws his hands in the air. It's out for a goal kick.
Looks like that practice session before the game is paying dividends. They were practicing set pieces against, and obviously corners being one of them. If you get the first touch on it, Mark, you've got a better chance of clearing the ball, and what they've done is they've got the first touch there. The second one was headed straight up in the air, and it spilled out for a harmless goal kick. But again, look what the goalkeeper's doing. He's put the ball in the 6-yard box, and the Spurs are on the halfway line. They're going to hit the front man.
Well, what actually happened there was Erling Haaland was wrestled to the ground by Radu Dragusin, just as the corner played in. So I think there was a brief VAR check to see if that was a penalty. It's been cleared, so it'll be no penalty, but there will be a change for Tottenham Hotspur in the next couple of seconds as the fourth official gets his board out, and it's going to be Dragusin, I think, is coming across. I'm not quite sure which player it is that's going to be withdrawn here for Tottenham.
Mark, I've just watched the replay of the Solanke goal, the second one, and it's a finish. It's a finish. It's not Rodri's own goal, it's a finish from Solanke. What a touch it is, by the way. Match of the day, get your views on that, because I'm telling you, that's goal of the season. What a finish.
10:30 tonight on BBC One is where you can see it, and also the highlights will be later on the BBC Sport website and app. Still we wait for this Spurs substitution. Who's the player down in
Solanke?
Oh, it is Solanke, yeah.
If he's been credited with 2 goals, he does not want to go off this field of play. 89 minutes on the clock. You would expect it to be, 5, 6, maybe even 7 minutes extra.
Erling Haaland's got a big smile on his face. He's just had his arms around a couple of the Spurs players out there. So Solanke is going to be withdrawn, and listen to this reception for Dominic Solanke. Yeah, so Solanke's off, and it's the young defender Janai Byfield who's coming on, a centre back for a centre forward, which perhaps shows where Thomas Frank's priorities lie in the last few minutes. The clock's just struck 90. We've got 9 added minutes, and there's going to be a roar around this stadium when they hear that, I'm pretty sure. There it is.
Is that why Thomas Frank's put a centre-half on for a centre-forward? It's possibly he's accepting the fact that he'll take the point now, because that keeps you in work. But there's every chance, with Solanke on the field of play, that they could have won this.
Yeah, so Janai Byfield is on. Academy product here. Spurs have had lots of academy products in their matchday squads in the last few weeks with so many injuries. So 9 added minutes then for one of these two teams to find a winner. As it stands, City are dropping points away from home again. and they'll be slipping 6 points off the pace in the Premier League title race, and Spurs are doing Arsenal a favour. Ball's clipped out to the left-hand side by the home team. Here's Sarr. Sarr about 25 yards out, square ball to Byfielders. Reinders tries to press him, and Spurs are happy through Paolini to go all the way back to Vicario. The home fans not impressed with that. I think they want their team to go and find a winner. They've had all the momentum in this second half, and Donnarumma's made a couple of really vital saves, in particular the one from Udogie away to his right, and then of course the one from Siemens away to his left. And if it wasn't for the Manchester City goalkeeper, they would be behind in this game.
100%, I agree totally. He's a man mountain, to be fair. You know, if the back four does get breached, you expect Donnarumma to come into action, and he has done, to be fair.
Challenge from Nico there in the midfield, but Spurs managed to come away with it. That was a really nice turn away from Rodri. There'll be a yellow card here, I'm sure, for Rodri.
This could be red. He's been booked in the first half, hasn't he?
Well, the referee has decided against getting his card out there, Rob Jones, and the game continues, and Spurs still have possession. Foden is trying to get back and help out in that Manchester City midfield. Here's Sarr, clipped out to Siemens for Spurs. Xavi Siemens been excellent in this game. His shirt's all muddied. He's put in a shift. Here's Gray on the right. City are forcing Spurs backwards though. Paulinho finds Dragusin, and yet they're going to have to go all the way back to Vicario for the second time in the last 2 minutes. We've got 7 more of the additional 9 minutes to play here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Mark, the one thing I will say, you know, if City are putting the press on, you don't mind them going back to the goalkeeper, and I think the Spurs fans would agree with that. But bottom line is, in the first half they were going back to the goalkeeper and there was no press. It was just readily going back to a goalkeeper from a good position to play into a striker's feet. The difference has been, as I said, it's palpable. It's chalk and cheese how Spurs have played first half to second.
Goals from Ryan Cherky and Antoine Semenyo had Manchester City in control here at half-time. They led 2-0, but 2 from Dominic Solanke have pegged City back, not just today, but in the title race again. Omar Marmoush is now going to be coming on, a late change for City. Rodri withdrawn, so City perhaps taking a slightly different approach to Tottenham, who've stuck a defender for a striker on. They're sticking as many attacking players on as they can at the moment.
I think he's took Rodri off because he knows he's running it very, very close. He had a couple of little niggly fouls, and he's already on a yellow card from the first half.
I'm not quite sure if the armband was passed to Nico O'Reilly there. I think Rodri had it when Bernardo went off, and it was just passed to O'Reilly. Perhaps he was the nearest player to Rodri when he left the field. Anyway, Spurs have won possession back, and here they go. Chance for Wilson Odobert over the halfway line to use his pace. Kushanov's got pace as well, and he gets back and does really well. Donnarumma comes out, and he'll just clip the ball downfield for Manchester City. Anywhere will do in that situation. Up towards Foden, who's being challenged by Udogie. I think that's going to be a Spurs throw. It is. Foden thinks it should be a City throw. They've taken it quickly. Matthias Tell has possession. We've got 5 minutes to go here in North London. Dragusin threads a pass through midfield to Tell, who turns, and now he'll drive and run at that City back line. Challenge from Matthias. Referee says Matthias got the ball. Home fans don't like it, and Donnarumma picks up possession for City.
Listen to the home fans, Mark. That's the difference in the game. Listen to the home fans. They're appealing for everything. And that ball went behind there. They were appealing for a back pass and a corner and everything, you name it.
Marmoush takes it around 2 players, ends up on the ground. Good recovery from Archie Gray. Referee says no foul, and Spurs have possession on their right-hand side. It's been a really, really exciting second half, but it's been a really disappointing second half for Manchester City. Usually so good when in control of games, but here looks like they're going to let a vital 2-point slip. Spurs are slowing the game down, as you'd expect.
It's been a massive second half, and it isn't finished yet. You've still got 3 minutes to go, but the massive second half is counted on 2 fronts. The saving of a manager's job, and I think, you know, the Spurs fans have got to say Thomas Frank's got a tune out of them in the second half. There's no doubt about it. 2-0 down, he's going to get something from this game. That's good management. And the other part being the difference between Man City and Arsenal.
Yeah, here come Spurs down the left. Ball threaded in towards Udogie in the penalty area. We had 2 goals in the 9 added minutes at Old Trafford earlier. Nothing yet. 5 of the 9 played here. It's 2-2. Rodri off as well, incidentally, just after that instant where he could have had another yellow card, so perhaps that's the reason he was withdrawn. Anyway, here's Semenyo down the other end of the field for Manchester City. And the challenge comes in on Antoine Semenyo from Pape Sarr, and it's out for a City throw-in.
He looks spent at the moment, Semenyo. I know he's been working hard, don't get me wrong, but he could have picked Phil Foden out there, who was spare on the edge of the box. Here we go.
Well, ball played in towards Foden. He'll cross it right-footed. It's deep towards the back stick. Haaland gets his head to it, knocks it down towards O'Reilly, volleyed away by Paulinho, and Kushnerov picks it up for Manchester City. And now it's Mark Gay. It's 2-2 on Total Sport, BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds, with 3 of the 9 minutes that have been added remaining. Matthias doesn't play it in when perhaps he should. Finds Semenyo. Back to Nico. Phil threw his arms up in frustration there.
He's 20 yards away from the goal, and he just put a ball into the penalty box. They've got bodies in the penalty box. Nobody on him, no pressure on him whatsoever.
City need to show some urgency. Guardiola threw his hands up there in frustration. Semenyo gets it from Foden back to Matthias. Still City are content to play it from side to side. They're going to have to take more of a direct option in a second, you would think. Kushnerov. Now it's Mark Gay. 65,000 people in this stadium hold their breath. Cross from Nico O'Reilly, takes a deflection. It bounces up for a second. You thought, is that going to loop over Vicario? No, it didn't. He picks it up. The Spurs fans want him to release it. They want a winner here, and he does release it in the end. It's more of a high, aimless ball downfield, though, that Kushnerov takes down on the volley for City and knocks it to Nico O'Reilly. The clock continues to tick down. 2 minutes to go.
I don't know what the goalkeeper was thinking about there. Vicario is an experienced lad. I mean, come on, it was 2v2 on the halfway line. You're at home. You've got a chance of winning the game, and he skies it into the air. It's poor decision making from the goalkeeper.
Here's Semenyo for City. City giving away again. They've not been good enough in this second half of Manchester City, and that's going to be a free kick to Tottenham. A yellow card for Nico Gonzalez. And Tottenham, you have to say, Phil Brown, have been excellent in this second 45.
As good as what Man City were in the first half. City were, they were brilliant in the first half, but you were expecting that. But the second half response by Spurs has been admirable, and you have to say it. You've got to give the manager credit.
Well, with 2 minutes to go there, could City have just put it in the mixer? I know it's not very Pep Guardiola, but there was a lot of pretty passing, but not much threat. And we've now only got a minute left on the clock. Spurs are winding that clock down as Vicario takes more time over this free kick. Reinders is complaining to the referee, saying, why is he not getting on with the game? And Haaland's now the latest City player to point that out and ask the referee if he's going to add this time on. He takes the free kick long into the City half. It's turned back to Donnarumma, who's under pressure now from Siemens. Manages to release it out to Nico O'Reilly, into Omar Marmoush. He's being wrestled by Archie Gray. That is a free kick. Referee's given it. Conor Gallagher will step across and try and waste more time. Guardiola and Pep Lijnders are there shouting, screaming. They want this ball to go forward. The referee's going to make City move the free kick backwards and take it from the position in which it was given.
Pep's on the pitch. He's on the pitch as the left back, but he's screaming at Semenyo to get alongside Haaland. He was out wide left, and he was telling him to get alongside Haaland. That's exactly what he's doing now. They need to put it into Haaland. There it goes.
10 seconds of the 9 added minutes left. In it goes, and that will just drift all the way out. Vicario lets that go, and you'd think Tottenham are nearly over the line. And Manchester City, as Erling Haaland almost goes down on his haunches there, know that they have dropped 2 big points in the title race. Phil Brown.
Camera goes straight on to Solanke, who's on the bench at the moment. He's done his job today, and hopefully he'll have been part and parcel of it. I remember when he was at Bournemouth and City beat them 6 at the Etihad Stadium, and I remember he went in and he absolutely tore strips out the tactics because they wouldn't put a ball into him. Second half, it's just proven to Spurs, why do you have to play all this wonderful, beautiful football? Hit the front man if he's on.
City complaining again as Vicario wastes time overtaking the goal kick. But that's it. Rob Jones, the referee, blows his whistle, and it's all over. And Manchester City have dropped 2 massive points in the title race. Last weekend, Arsenal dangled a carrot by being beaten at home by Manchester United, but this weekend the shoe is on the other foot. Arsenal go to Ellen Road, score 4 and beat Leeds, and Manchester City, who looked in such a commanding position here at half-time thanks to goals from Cherki and Semenyo, have let it slip in the second half. 2 from Dominic Solanke, the first scrappy, the second a brilliant bit of improvisation. And City slip 6 points behind the Gunners in the race for the title. Full time here, Tottenham Hotspur 2, Manchester City 2.
Well, of course, you can have your say. 0800 218 2255. We'll give you the other ways to get in touch in just a moment. You can put your thoughts, comments and questions to Phil Brown. But goodness me, Phil, let's just talk about that second half. I mean, half-time we were talking about how forlorn Thomas Frank was looking, how downright depressed, I think, and deflated. Yes. The fans were looking. Some of them Mark had described had already left, or at least gone onto the concourse to get a drink and try and lift themselves or just get away from what they were seeing. Yeah. Then wow, what a turnaround.
I'm just watching Vicario. He's got a hold of his manager, and his manager's got the biggest smile on his face. And the reason why, I think it's one of them where they've came up with a game plan which included the goalkeeper more than anything else. And the keeper's there. He's on the middle of the pitch at the moment. He's trying to get the fans to realise what that second half was all about. And the second half was all about character. Now, that's nothing to do. I'm working for BBC Radio Manchester, so I'm reporting on Man City. But Man City had no answers. Man City had no answers from a team who simply went back to front.
It was an incredible turnaround, wasn't it? I mean, that's obviously from Spurs' point of view. From City, though, I mean, are we discrediting Spurs if we just say that City capitulated, which we have seen them do down south, and not being able to protect a lead at the halfway point before? But don't want to discredit Spurs, but they were in the driving seat, Manchester City. What happened from their point of view?
My word, they were well and truly, Stacey, in the driving seat. They had full control of the vehicle. It was going in one direction, and that was back to Manchester with 3 points. The second half, listen, it's too early to say because there's a long way to go, but 6 points difference between themselves and Arsenal. Everybody looks at Arsenal and thinks they'll still slip up, they'll still, they'll become the Arsenal that they always are, and they'll drop points and they'll bottle it, and all that kind of stuff's coming out. But Arsenal look steady. They look as if they've gone to Leeds yesterday, and that was a statement. That was a 4-0 drubbing of a team who was undefeated in 10, I believe, Leeds United. City had a chance to do that. City had a chance to come here at 2-0 at half-time and do the same. And what a statement that would have been. Doesn't matter what you do, Arsenal, we're going to do the same. But they didn't in the second half. They capitulated to a certain extent, but it was because of the style of play of a team that just simply wasn't working. Whatever they were doing in the first half wasn't working. And the manager, you've got to give him credit. If you're a Spurs fan and you were on the concourses at half-time slaughtering Thomas Frank, well, swallow your drink. Swallow your drink, because at the end of the day, he's come out with a plan. In the second half plan, take the captain off, one. Take a guy off who thinks he's better than what Spurs are, Romero, and I'm saying that, and I'm categorically stating that. He thinks he's better than what Spurs are. If he is, on your way, go and sign for somebody else and think the same, because at the end of the day they took him off and the change was totally different. I'm reporting for BBC Manchester, and I'm telling you, City didn't have the answers when the quality of the striker, like Solanke, had enough about him to get after the two centre-halves. And has he been credited with both goals? I don't know, but my word, he was a problem. He was a thorn in the side of the two centre-halves, whereas in the first half they had a cigar on both centre-halves, didn't have a problem.
I tell you what, as a football fan, I do hope he is credited with that goal, because that bit of genius.
Have you seen it, Stacey?
Oh, it's on the screen right in front of me. I've been watching all the way through. Goodness me, that ingenuity deserves to be credited. So I do hope he is. But how fascinating, Phil, that at half-time you were talking about them simply not having the depth, the calibre of player to make a difference. Those big names that Mark Crossley was talking about and mentioning from former teams. Yet they turned it around. We were also talking about the basic mistakes, giving the ball away, and obviously City will punish you for that. To say that they can change it with, obviously they made one change and came out differently, but that is remarkable. And the fascinating thing about sport, how things can be turned around like that.
Stacey, I'm just looking at Erling Haaland as a striker. If you're playing against Erling Haaland, is he the one that's going to start the press off, or is it going to come from midfield? And I think City's press comes from a backup of midfield players, so they get around Erling Haaland. That's where he gets his chances, but he doesn't close people down like little strikers that can get in your face and niggle at you, and nick the ball from you. And I think the way Spurs are playing, there wasn't any pressure on the two centre halves, and they were readily going back to the goalkeeper. I'm thinking, why are you doing that? Looking forward. You've got two strikers who can hold the ball up. You've got two players who are big enough. Play forward. And I just sometimes the manager gets the blame for that, and sometimes I think players have got to take responsibility. You get a sniff, you look at who you're playing against. Yes, if balls are coming into your penalty box, you're going to be up against it. Yes, if balls are coming into him with quality, he's going to hold it up. Bottom line is, when he gets half a chance, he invariably puts it in the back of the net. So you've got to be about your metal defending against Erling Haaland, but he ain't going to be the one who starts the press. So the two centre halves, if you're playing forward, come on, don't blame the manager for the tactics. Hit the front man, and that's what they did the second half. And I hope the manager. I'm not saying I'm a Thomas Frank fan, but I'm a manager's fan. I'm a manager's fan because I know how difficult it is. It doesn't matter what level it is. I know how difficult it is. And he would have had to go in half time, and he would have had to probably tear strips off somebody who's he runs the changing room. That's Romero. And he's tore strips off him, or he's substituted him, or he's took him off because he's injured. Whatever the reason is, I don't care. It was different. The second half was massively different. And that's the reason why Spurs got something from the game.
It was unbelievable. We'd love to hear from you. Blues, get in touch. 0800 218 2255. That's the number to call. You can WhatsApp us 08000 321 333 or text us 81333. Start your message with the word Mank. I'll get to some of your tweets in just a moment. But first, we've got Scott joining us in Northwich. Evening, Scott.
Are you all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. Goodness me, I mean, what do you even say to that? Obviously a game of two halves, but from your perspective, must be really frustrated.
Yeah, because they were in total control. They didn't look in any danger. No, Tottenham didn't really offer much in the first half, but we just looked so comfortable. And then second half, did the classic concede just after half time. Quite a fortuitous goal. And then the next thing you know, we're looking like we were hanging on. And I think if that game might have gone another 5 or 10 more minutes, we probably...
I think you're breaking up a little bit in between there, Scott. I thought for a second, Phil, he was just being very... I think he was being very pensive and just giving us a cliffhanger as he was going to make his points.
It sounded to me like he didn't want to say it, that we were going to lose the game.
Yeah, well, we'll try and get him back better, but obviously I'll give you a chance to respond to the initial comments that he made.
No, he's bang on. There was no reason for City to take their foot off the gas, apart from the half-time whistle came. So the half-time whistle comes and one team does something about it. Okay, you expect them to come out with their tails up to a certain extent, and if they do something different, maybe if they get something from the initial 4 or 5 minutes of hitting a striker, why don't we just play that way all the time? And that's what they did. Spurs just did that. They started doing that, and then they got some joy from it. The two goals, you could say, were a little bit fluky to a certain extent, but the second one is either a real classy quality finish or it's a fluky goal. Doesn't matter. It's 2-2. Donnarumma was getting asked questions and he was answering. To be fair, he pulled off a couple of great saves, but it was a possibility that Spurs could have gone on to win the game if there was extra 4 or 5 minutes. City have got a point. I can't say it's title over or anything like that, but at the end of it, it might be a decent point. It might be a decent point, maybe the point that wins them the title, who knows. But, a 2-0 at half-time, champions normally go on to win the game comfortably, and that's what Arsenal look like they're doing.
Scott's back now. Hi, Scott.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No,
My phone call's a little bit like the performance. Started off all right and then lost its way. But we pulled it back. We pulled it back for a draw, so sorry about that.
Don't let it happen again, Scott. We'll sub you. Or as Phil says, we'll hook you. You'll get hooked.
Blow me out.
Yeah, go on.
I just thought that we were excellent first half. Didn't take a chances. I know Tottenham weren't particularly good, and then we did the classic. We've done it. It's gone off again.
No, you're there.
Oh, I thought you. Sorry about that. Yeah, and then like this season, we've conceded just after half time in a lot of games this season, or nearly conceded, and I could see it coming. It was a jammy goal. And then the second goal was a brilliant goal, you can't deny it. But I think, like Phil said, another few more minutes on the end, we might have lost that match. But we were brilliant first half. I thought Cherky was brilliant. I thought him going off, real shame. Bernardo Silva, I always champion him. He come off late on injured, didn't he? And it just, a few things lost the shape. And I don't know. It's one for Pep to explain, really, why the midfield just sort of like... We seem to bypass our midfield like we bypassed their midfield in the first half, and I don't know how to explain that. I'm not a football coach, but they were just coming through as it will, weren't they?
Scott, I'd love to know your views on this one. You mentioned the player that in the first 20 minutes, he was outstanding, but he was down a couple of times. Shirky, I'm talking about, scored a goal, and it was an easy finish for him. Bottom line is when a defender doesn't get close enough in the penalty box, he's going to put it in the bottom corner, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
The second one was an unbelievable save by Vicario, and he never got any credit for that. It didn't go, where the ref was concerned, he gave a goal kick, and it was a great save. It was going in the top corner. But Shirky, for me, I was looking at his body language about 10 minutes just before half-time. I'm thinking he's going to go in half-time and not come out. And I don't know whether that is the reason why he's only 30 million. Hold that thought, by the way, only 30 million. But only 30 million with the group of players that's surrounding him, the 60s and the 70s and the 100s and this, that and the other. But that's maybe the reason for his temperament, that he's only 30 million, because on his day, he's an absolute world beater.
Yeah. I mean, I've said in the past he reminds me of Nasri, but he's a little bit better than Nasri. But Nasri was a bit of a player like that. I always sometimes hid a little bit, but on his day he could be fantastic. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. He doesn't offer much coming back, and as the game up the tempo in the game, I know he got a bit of a knock. He looks a bit suspended, and I understand what you're saying, but his body language looks that way as well. I think he's one of them types of players. He looks like he just got out of bed, doesn't he? He just seems to be very, very laid back, but I think, like you say, away from home, you just need a bit more, don't you? And I think he did go a little bit missing, but there you go.
Pep will know his players better than I do, and when he starts at Spurs, it's probably because they smell a rat. And you come to Tottenham and you think this is a club that's not run properly. I don't want to say that. It's just not being. There's something not right about Spurs, So when you come here, they've only won 2 games in 12 now, so that tells you there's something not right about the place. And when you're 2-0 up. I've been renowned for doing a half-time team talk on the pitch. If I'd have been Pep Guardiola, I might have done my half-time team talk on the pitch to the City players, because the stadium was empty. And I would have pointed it out to the players. Man City, these are ready for a 5-0 drubbing. If we do it properly in the second half, these are ready for a 5-0 drubbing. Because the punters had gone. They were going home.
Yeah, the typical football fans, really, that, isn't it, of the modern day?
Cheers, Scott.
They were there at the end. No, but they do, don't they? I mean, I've been following City since I was a boy, and like I say, at the end they were all singing. If they'd have lost that game, they'd have been sitting, wouldn't they? But it's that's the fickleness of being a Premier League football fan these days, and how fickle they are.
Who'd want to be a manager, eh?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a go at it, but I don't know whether I'd last. It certainly wouldn't be without the enthusiasm anyway.
Scott, I'd like to add the reason why I said, and hold that thought, 30 million, I was once sold for £17,500.
Oh, wow. You sold more than a lot of other players. Doesn't go for nothing, don't they, so?
Thanks so much, Scott. Pleasure to have you with us on Total Sport.
Sorry about the call as well.
Don't worry, it's great.
I'll have to invest in one of these new... I've only still got a Nokia 3210. I'm only joking.
No, that's all right. That's all right. It's fine by us. Don't worry. It adds to the interest for us. It makes it exciting, just like the games. Let's say hello to Andy now, also in Northwich, hopefully with a better signal though. Evening, Andy.
Evening, you okay?
Yeah, we're good, thank you. What did you make of it today then?
Well, first half, we were that much in control that sometimes we had to shake ourselves at times, didn't we, to wake ourselves up like.
Yeah.
There was no danger that City were going to lose that game at half time. We should have been more up, I thought.
Yeah, Haaland's chance. If that goes 3-0, it could be a cricket score second half, you're right.
Yeah, 3-0, there's no coming back from that, I don't think, the way it was going. But the second half, when they came out, they looked up for the fight, so Thomas Frank had done a good job on them in that changing room. And City didn't look like they had the fight in them, and that's worrying. And I thought we were very slow to close them down, on crosses and things like that.
Yeah, good call. Good call. Shirky's the best player in the first half, and Donnarumma's the best player in the second half. That just tells you, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, he's saved us a lot of times this season, Donnarumma.
That's what they're there for. Don't get me wrong, but not in that situation. When you're 2-0 up, you don't want to be pulling world-class saves off to keep it at 2-2. That's the point.
No, and that's the thing where I was saying, we're slow to close their attack down, and like your previous call there, Scott just said about them coming through that midfield. Sometimes it looked like we had no midfield at times. That second half.
Rodri was on. He was on tenterhooks. He got a yellow card in the first half, and I was thinking to myself,
yeah, silly.
He's the type that does a little tug every so often. Like he pulls and pushes and this, that, and the other. But he was getting caught a little bit on the ball, and I thought it's not Rodri like his normal self,
No, well, I think
you're right about the midfield.
Injury. Yeah, well, the injuries he's had, the big injury, and then he's had a couple of little injuries. I think he's lost half a yard. And he's starting to pull players, isn't he, to get past him. He did it in Bodo, didn't he?
Yeah,
and,
it's
giving away yellow cards too cheap.
It's not a bad shout. I'm just thinking about, the midfield that you're talking about. It had legs and energy and quality in the first half, and it seemed sapped or devoid of any kind of forward play. They weren't protecting the back four, and they weren't Sometimes, when an opposition changes a tact, and that's what Spurs did, no doubt in my mind. In the first 4 or 5 minutes, they showed their hand in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half. They hit the front man a lot earlier, a lot quicker. And as a sitting midfield player, I know Rodri's a great player, don't get me wrong, and I'm not teaching me granny how to suck eggs here. As a sitting midfield player, you're the one who has to intercept the ball into the striker. So you're actually you become the third centre-half in front of the two centre-halves, if you know what I mean. And there was none of that.
True.
There was none of that.
No, we're really exposing that defence at times this season. I don't know what the answer is, because in the end we had Nico on as well, didn't we? And it still wasn't working. But I just think when they came out fighting, I think they surprised us, and our fight just wasn't there like it should be. We should have gone there and won that game. We're in it against Arsenal. At the minute now, Arsenal got a good lead there, and they shouldn't throw that away.
Andy, I was sorry,
No,
Stacey.
right,
Andy, I was making reference to fighting mentality, because fighting is part and parcel of the game. People talk about making the home ground a fortress, and I remember back in the day, Main Road and the fortresses, and then you build beautiful new stadiums. And they don't look like fortresses. They look like beautiful new stadiums that all the big players want to come and play in. So it's difficult to have a sort of fighting mentality. But Arsenal, listen to me, Spurs showed that in the second half, that they've got it in them. So they can play, but they need to have the fight before the play. From my perspective, if I'm a Spurs fan, I want to see fighting mentality, and then we know we can play. But it comes the other way in the modern day player now. They want to play first, and we're 2-0 down, so we'll fight now. Too late.
You're right, mate.
The upcoming games as well, Andy, just want to mention those for City: Newcastle at home, Liverpool away, Fulham at home. For Arsenal, Sunderland at home, and then Brentford and Spurs away. Really crucial, these upcoming games, aren't they? I mean, you can never predict anything, but Sunderland, Brentford, Spurs for Arsenal.
It looks better for them, to be fair.
It does, doesn't it? On paper.
Our main one next week is, Liverpool.
Well, that's
we don't
a derby match, Stacey. We've got to hold this thought here. That's a derby match in there, right? Arsenal against Tottenham, yeah?
Yeah.
That's Brentford, who's just been Aston Villa and won 1-0, and the mighty Sunderland.
Yeah.
Who is my team, of course. That's a difficult 3 games.
It's hard. I mean, we've got to go to Anfield next week, and nothing short of a win, really, for me. But how many times do we go there and win?
Yeah. Well, you never know. Do you never know? I mean, it's a lesson today, that's for sure. Pep will know that as well. He's no mug. Pep will know that. And it'll be personnel that he'll be talking about in the second half. It'll be personnel more than anything else.
It's going to be an exciting one at Liverpool, of course. That's Sunday the 8th, 4:30 kick-off, that one. And what a game that's going to... I mean, they've had some belters over the years between one another, haven't they? And they've had their own run-ins, of course, for the league titles. But, it's one of those that no matter what form anybody's got going into it, Andy, it can always produce, can't it, Liverpool and Manchester City. And as I say, you've got to factor in that they've got... Newcastle midweek as well, which it adds to it. That's another factor of the number of games, isn't it? But just in terms of the opposition, Liverpool, Fulham and Newcastle, tough, because he got them in, obviously, like I say, in the Premier League again a couple of weeks after that.
Yeah, but if we play Newcastle on Wednesday and we get that extra goal, we look like 3 up. That's when I think you might have to take a few players off there and give them a rest for Anfield. Because you can guarantee Liverpool's form's not been great. A good win last night, but they'll be like prime Brazil 1970 against us. You watch. You know what I mean?
Brilliant.
Absolutely. Andy, thank you so much for joining us on
Cheers,
Total
Andy.
Sport. Much appreciated.
Thanks very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, we can get some reaction now from the City camp. Antoine Semenyo had the Blues 2-0 up before Spurs fought back to draw 2-2. Here he is with the BBC's Jonathan Pearce.
Well, he got off to a brilliant start, and then what happened in the second half?
They started to pick up momentum, creating chances, dominating on the ball a little bit, and just end up sinking deep, and they created chances off that.
Let's talk about your start, though, because you played virtually a front two, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did that help exploit the space in behind?
Yeah, the way we set up was to draw them out a little bit, so keeping the ball. Once the midfielders step up, then next spaces are for the 10s, and it worked perfectly in the first half.
Deserved 2-0 lead really at half time. Could have been more, couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think I had another chance before my goal, so kicking myself with that, but we just have to go again.
Was a crucial difference they sent on Papsar in the second half, and that shored up their midfield a little?
Yeah, provided them a bit of energy. He's obviously workhorse. He gets up and down really well, so definitely helped for them.
It's a game, though, at this stage of the season, 2-0 up, at a team that's been struggling, that you needed to win?
Yeah, definitely would have helped our cause, but it's not over yet. 14 games to go, so anything can happen.
Enjoying life at the moment, though? You had a great start.
Yeah, definitely enjoying it. Everyone's made me feel so comfortable and slotted in really well with the coaches, everyone behind the scenes as well, so yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
He's demanding, though, isn't he? He demands more than just goals. He wants more, he wants more.
Yeah, he wants everyone to work hard. I think that's the number one thing for us, so yeah, I'm an advocate for that. I want to do that, and everyone else in the team does too.
We mentioned before, Phil, that it's not just about getting the right signings, is it? Of course, that's crucial, but the way that they've slotted in, and people have talked many times about the fact that Pep can, bring a player in and make them better, but over the course of a season or more or whatever. But I mean, the players that have come in have had an immediate impact, haven't they?
Well, I've watched Doku since he first went in, and he struggled at the start. And I was thinking, is it down to mentality? Is it down to language? Is it down? You're thinking. It's a common language coaching as far as I'm concerned. I'm not saying Pep can't talk in 2 or 3 different languages, but the body language tells you, and when they're stopping sessions and pointing things out, and videos gets produced, and all of these things, they can learn a lot more from that. But I'm not for 1 minute teaching Pep how to do it, but he does get a tune out of them immediately. It appears, and he loves inverted wingers, and he loves playing in a certain way, and Semenyo has just added something to that. Today I was very interested in his position. If I'd have been Jonathan Pearce, I might have asked him, was he playing as a striker? Was he actually playing alongside Erling Haaland? Because it looked that way, and especially when Shirky went off, it almost like an old-fashioned 4-4-2. And I would have been asking that question because it looked that way, and I don't think Pep's a 4-4-2 man. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Well, we can actually hear from Pep Guardiola now, who's also been speaking to the BBC's Jonathan Pearce.
What a fantastic start to the game, beautiful football, and you've only gone away with a point.
Yeah, we played a really good game in general. 7 minutes, they put more balls, in behind, more players there, more players in the middle to attack more direct, but in general, it was a very good game. For today, we could not win.
I spoke to Antoine Semenyo a minute ago, and he said that playing 2 up front virtually created spaces behind them. Was that the game plan?
The game plan is have the ball to attack as good as possible, and the players up front make the difference. That is what we are looking for.
In the second half, they brought on Papsar. Did that help them, do you think?
Well, I put more players up front. First half, played for 5 in the back. In the second half, we put more players there, more direct. And they found the goal. We know what's happened, and after that they have the momentum, and Premier League always like that. And after that we have our momentum at the end again.
They were very direct, weren't they, at times?
Sorry?
They were very direct at times, Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, first half as well, yeah.
So overall, you've gone through in Europe again in the week, and how much of a setback is this?
Well, yeah, a setback, but still we are there, and move on, move forward. So still 14 games out of points, and thinking next one.
There's going to be hiccups, aren't there, for all the clubs? Hiccups, bumps in the road between now and the end.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. No, I think there will be. I mean, that's almost guaranteed, isn't it? But it obviously has been here and seen it all before. It's part of the game, isn't it?
I think he's got to get within a game of it, or if it's within 3 points, then you're talking. But when it goes to 6, it's a couple of games minimum. I know you've always got to play them, and that's the big 6 point. Everybody talks about that one. but it's certainly not over till the fat lady sings, as they say. And I think that's what Pep's allaying to. He's definitely making reference to it. We've done it before and we'll do it again.
And as you rightly said, on paper, which, I reiterate, it is on paper, it looks like, City, have a more difficult next few games, but you just never know, do you? And obviously other teams, they will raise their game. Obviously City have been through that before, where every single place you go, it's their FA Cup. We've talked about that before, but that's what Arsenal are going to be up against now.
But the thing is, if you're doing a critique on this game as an away manager, as a manager that's going to face Man City in the near future, there's two ways of looking at today's game. Pep made reference to they were direct in the first half. I don't think they were. I don't think it was anywhere near as direct. If they played the second half direct, then the first half certainly wasn't. But is it the right way to play against Man City? And do Man City make changes because of that? Do they change their system or personnel? Well, Pep will always play the way Pep wants to play, because the majority of the times he'll have 75-25 possession against teams, from a lower part of the Premier League. But surely Spurs have done a way of playing against Manchester City. City have got to do something better than what they did in the second half, and they just couldn't cope with a long ball into a couple of strikers. I mean, you're entitled to play as many strikers as you want to. You know what I mean, Stacey? You're entitled to play as many strikers as you want to. So you want to put 3 up there, you want to put 2 up there, whatever. You play with 1, you run the risk of, if it's not perfect service into the striker, the 2 centre-halves are going to be coming out of the ball. And then City's going to be dominant. And that's what happened in the first half. Second half, it didn't.
Absolutely. Well, Phil, we'd pay your 17 grand transfer fee every day of the week. It's been great.
That was Halifax Town to Bolton Wanderers.
Belting, the glamour. Listen, it's been great having you with us as always. Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you to Phil Brown and Mark Crossley. What a day. Goodness me, that we've had on Total Sport. It's been pretty special, I have to say, with all those games, plenty of goals as well. You can get lots of the reaction, of course, still on Breakfast tomorrow with Joe. Also the Devil's Advocate podcast. Keep a lookout for that. And we'll be covering all the transfer deadline day news and moves from 6 p.m. tomorrow. Now, former Blues midfielder Paul Lake and ex-United defender Wes Brown join Gaz and Emily. You can watch it live. You just need to search Transfer Deadline Day on BBC iPlayer, or you can listen live on your smart speaker. Just say play BBC Radio Manchester. Well, plenty to celebrate for the red side of Manchester, with a win over Liverpool in the WSL and the 3rd win in a row for Carrick's men against Fulham. Mixed for the Blues though. Pep's men throwing away a vital 2 points in the Premier League after being up at the halfway point. But a huge win for City's women. They sit 11 points clear at the top of the WSL. Who'd have thought we'd be saying that at this stage? 4 games today, 19 goals. It's been a busy old day on Total Sport. Thanks for joining us.
Total Sport.
Action replay.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Here's Miedemar though, trying to put City back on the front foot. Bunny Shaw, she's got the better of the defender, and she will be allowed to finish it off. Chelsea are not happy. They believe that Bunny Shaw maybe committed a foul in the build-up to that one.
Bruno Fernandes is going to take it. It's effectively like a short corner. So here he goes, chips it to the back stick, headed home by Casemiro, and Manchester United have the lead.
Here comes City, edge of the penalty area. Cherky shoots, brilliant! Manchester City strike first. 10 minutes played, and that's a crisp, low, right-footed strike.
Kirsten Kasperai with the delivery. It's a decent-looking one. It's a flick and a goal. City do have 5. It's Miedemar, I think, who's headed it into the back of the net. And would you believe this scoreline? Manchester City 5, Chelsea 1.
Oh, into the penalty area. They've got the equaliser. Conor Gallagher's cross came in, and Manchester City's 2-goal lead has evaporated in this second half.
Here's a curling effort. Oh, a wonderful goal, and Fulham are level. An outstanding strike from outside the penalty area from the right foot of Kevin. Played a 1-2 and curled it beyond the reach of Lammens. Bruno trying to make something happen here down the right. Low cross into the area. Surely a chance for Sesko. He's won it. Benjamin Sesko with a right foot finish. Michael Carrick is punching the air in celebration. Old Trafford is raucous. Sesko surely with the winner. United 3, Fulham 2.
Action replay.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker,
play BBC Radio Manchester,
and on your radio.
The sound of Manchester is
BBC Radio Manchester.
BBC News at 7 o'clock. This is Nikki Cardwell. The Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch says the Prime Minister should suspend Lord Mandelson from the Labour Party after documents released by the US government suggested he'd received $75,000 from Jeffrey Epstein. Bank statements appearing to show 3 payments in 2003 and 2004 are included in the latest release of files about the late sex offender. Lord Mandelson was a Labour MP at the time of the transfers were alleged to have been made. He said he had no recollection of receiving the money and questioned whether the documents were authentic. Our political correspondent Joe Pike is following developments.
We knew about the social links, now we have details about the financial links between the pair. But all of this, I think, again and again returns to the issue of judgment. Mandelson's judgment in maintaining the relationship and contact with Epstein 8 years after his first conviction, even though, of course, Mandelson has said he regrets believing Epstein's lies, but also the Prime Minister's judgment in appointing Mandelson the US ambassador when he knew there was some form of a post-conviction relationship.
A Russian drone has hit a bus carrying mine workers in eastern Ukraine. Officials say 12 people were killed. Earlier, Russian strikes on a maternity hospital injured 6 people. President Trump says he hopes to agree a deal with Iran after the country's supreme leader warned that any US attack on Iranian soil would trigger a regional war. Earlier, the lawyer for a protester who was reportedly sentenced to death in Iran said he'd been released from jail. Irfan Soltani became one of the most prominent faces of the anti-government demonstrations that rocked the country last month. 2 rail companies have come under public ownership. London North Western Railway and West Midlands Railway are now controlled by the government. It's hoped the move will improve punctuality. The rail writer and engineer Gareth Dennis says ticket prices are unlikely to change significantly.
The main thing that means fares are high is the fact that we don't have enough seats to bring those fares down. If you have the situation where trains are full, then essentially fares can kind of be set to match. The other thing, of course, is that the majority fares have been in government control for, long before nationalisation has happened anyway. So it's not the case that fares won't come down, but this is only one part of a much larger, complicated puzzle.
Football and Spurs came from 2 goals down to draw 2-2 with Manchester City. The result leaves City 6 points behind Arsenal at the top of the Premier League. Earlier, Manchester United beat Fulham 3-2. The Fulham boss Marco Silva thought his team had deserved at least a point.
When you lose a game like we lost, it's always very tough, difficult for the team, for all the effort, the great second half that we played. Great attitude, commitment, heart, quality throughout the game, but more clear second half, and was difficult for us, and clear and deserved. We deserve much more from the game, definitely.
Tonight's weather, cloudy in many areas with patchy rain in the east, clear spells on western coasts and in Northern Ireland, parts of Northern England and Scotland. BBC News, it's 7:03.